I slapping myself in the face. Repeatedly. In a hotel room. With a naked CEO watching me do it. Yeah, my Tuesday was already off the rails. Let me back up. This woman, Xing. We're talking the ice queen of the entire business world. She once lent me 50 grand to save my mom's life. Today I called her to pay it back, and she said, "Come to the hotel. I have a problem." Being a decent human being, I showed up. Big mistake. Huge. She grabbed me the second I walked in, burning up like a human toaster, whispering, "Save me. This is life or death." And look, I'm a simple guy. Someone says, life or death, I don't ask for a doctor's note. I just helped. Medically. With my body. It was basically CPR if you squint hard enough. Afterwards, she tried to hand me a bank card with 3 million on it. 3 million. I said no, because apparently I hate money. Told her we're even for saving my mom, walked out, and promised to forget everything. My brain, however, did not cooperate. That woman was. No, stop. Bad Lin fan. So I bought my girlfriend Jo Rue a brand new iPhone with my last bit of cash, because today's my birthday, and I celebrate by buying other people presents. That's just how I roll. Like a doormat. A loving, devoted doormat. I got home and found her packing. "We're breaking up," she said, cool as a cucumber. For years I supported this woman. Ripped up my own college acceptance letter so she could go instead. Worked 14-hour days cutting stones, living on steamed buns like some kind of bread-powered robot. And now she's got a job offer, and suddenly I'm yesterday's garbage. But wait, it gets better. Her new boyfriend walked in. 30-something, fancy suit, probably smells like expensive cologne and bad decisions. This clown, Zhao Ming, just casually wraps his arm around my girlfriend and says, "Yeah bro, we've been sleeping together since her internship." Her internship. That was months ago. She'd been telling me, "Not tonight, honey," while running off to play house with Mr. Armani over here. I lost it. Charged at him like an angry bull. He had taekwondo training. I had rage and zero combat skills. Guess who won? Hint, not me. I ended up on the floor with his designer shoe on my face while he bragged that one shoe cost more than my yearly salary. Which, painfully, was probably true. I was thrashing around on the ground like a fish on a dock, knocked over my shelf, and stones went rolling everywhere. This genius picked one up and cracked it over my skull. Real classy move, buddy. Everything went dark. Blood in my eyes, world fading out. But right before I blacked out completely, I saw something absolutely insane. The stone that just gave me a concussion was glowing gold from the inside. That golden light shot straight into my forehead, and suddenly I was watching mountains crumble, rivers flow backwards, and millions of people bowing down to some giant golden seal like it owed them money. Meanwhile, outside, the sky over the whole city went full apocalypse mode. Thunder, lightning, clouds swirling like someone flushed the world's biggest toilet. Every powerful person in the city completely lost their minds trying to figure out what just happened. All because some broke guy got dumped and hit with a rock. Happy birthday to me, I guess. So I'm knocked out cold, bleeding on my own floor like a sad pizza, and suddenly my brain gets hijacked into some mystical pocket dimension. Cool. Normal Tuesday stuff. A booming voice starts downloading information directly into my skull like the world's most aggressive Wi-Fi connection. Apparently, spiritual energy is coming back to Earth. Alien races are about to cause problems. Humanity is weak. And there's this ancient emperor seal looking for someone worthy to carry the fate of the entire human race. No pressure or anything. Will you accept this burden? The voice asks. And I'm lying there thinking, 5 minutes ago, a guy in designer shoes was using my face as a doormat. My girlfriend of 4 years just told me I'm worth less than his pinky finger, and I'm bleeding from a rock to the head on my birthday. So yeah, you know what? Sign me up. I accept, I yelled. Poor? A dog? Screw all of that. From today, I'm climbing to the top, and nobody is ever stepping on my face again. The seal exploded with golden light and started flooding me with ancient techniques and power-ups like some kind of cosmic loot box. Then I spotted one particular inheritance called the Yellow Emperor's Scripture of Betting 3,000 Women, and I had to pause. Is this inheritance even legal? Wait, no, the Yellow Emperor actually did ascend to heaven after that. So technically, it's a verified cultivation method. Listen, I'm not judging the ancient emperors. They had their process. It worked for them. Moving on. Meanwhile, back in the real world, which I could somehow still perceive, my lovely ex-girlfriend was standing over my corpse, worried. Not about me, of course. About whether my death would cause legal trouble for her precious boyfriend. He's just a piece of trash, she told Zhao Ming. Not worth even one of your fingers. Zhao Ming called me a dog and said he could make my death go away with pocket change. Real charming couple, those two. Then I opened my eyes and stood up. Did I say you could leave? You should have seen their faces. Priceless. Absolutely priceless. Zhao Ming recovered first and threw a fancy high kick at my head. Taekwondo. Very impressive, very cinematic. Except this time, I caught his ankle like I was grabbing a TV remote. Just snatched it out of the air. His face went from, "I'm going to destroy you," to, "Wait, what?" in about half a second. "This foot," I said, nice and calm. "This is the one you put on my face?" Then I chopped his shin bone like a karate demonstration. Snap. His leg bent the wrong way. Not gonna lie, it was deeply satisfying. Zhou screamed at me to let him go. Funny how she never screamed at him to get his shoe off my face. I pointed that out. She didn't have a great comeback. Zhao Ming was rolling around on the floor threatening to kill me, so I stepped on his hand and broke that too. Called it interest on the debt. Told him next time I'd collect the principal, his life. Then I turned to Zhou Ru. For years of steamed buns and 14-hour shifts and ripping up my own future so she could have hers. And what did I get? Betrayal, humiliation, and a lecture about how we're not in the same world. Broke guy's kindness and a poor man's love. Cheapest things in the world, huh? Congratulations, Zhou Ru. You taught me the most expensive lesson of my life. Now take your boyfriend and get out. She couldn't even stand up. Her legs gave out. She was terrified. Good. She should be. I'm not the same guy who bought her iPhones with his lunch money. She dragged Zhao Ming out like a broken suitcase, and I was finally alone. I picked up the blood-stained stone that cracked my skull open and crushed it. Inside was half of the human emperor seal. Turns out the ancient seal shattered during some prehistoric catastrophe, and I need to find the other pieces. But first, I need to get stronger. I activated the seal's powers. I didn't just get some lame X-ray vision. No. I got origin sight, sees through everything, identifies treasures, reads people's true nature. It's like X-ray vision when I graduate school and got 3 PhDs. I was about to test it out when I felt something wrong outside my window. Dark figures, moving fast, giving off creepy energy that definitely wasn't human. They were heading straight for me. Apparently, that giant light show in the sky was basically a GPS beacon saying, "Newly awakened chosen one here. Come get him." Great. I've been the human emperor's successor for about 10 minutes, and someone's already trying to kill me. Happy birthday to me. Again. So those creepy shadow figures racing toward my window? Gone. The second I hid my energy signature, they scattered like cockroaches when you flip the light on. Turns out, play dead spiritually is a legitimate survival strategy. Who knew? Then government people showed up downstairs, trying to pinpoint who caused the apocalyptic light show. They couldn't find the exact location, so they called the local cops to go door to door. Yeah, time to move. Next morning I looked in the mirror and almost didn't recognize myself. The head wound. Completely gone. My whole vibe had changed. Taller, sharper, like I'd been through a factory reset, but the premium version. I looked myself dead in the eyes and said, "Happy birthday, Lin Fan. Nobody's stepping on you ever again." I walked outside and sure enough, cops were already chatting up old ladies in the neighborhood. Definitely not sticking around. Headed to the raw stone market, quit my job, feels great saying that, and decided to test drive my new cheat code eyeballs on some gambling stones. Using the human emperor's divine power to pick rocks feels like bringing a nuclear submarine to a fishing trip, but hey, a man needs seed money. Bought a stone for 3,000 yuan. The stall owner, brotherly, warned me not to get addicted to stone gambling. Sweet guy, not everyone in this world sucks. He cut it open and nearly had a heart attack. Glutinous iced jade, worth 50 to 60,000, 20 times what I paid. Sold it to him for 50,000, then picked 2 more stones. He cut those open and his soul left his body. Even better quality. 500,000 combined. The man was staring at me like I'd just pulled a rabbit out of a nuclear reactor. What's going on with you? Did the god of gambling possess you? Nah, I said. More like the guy who invented jade appraisal. 55 million in my account. Okay, not millions, but over 500,000 yuan. Yesterday, I was eating steamed buns for lunch. Today, I'm basically a small-time baller. Life comes at you fast. I walked into the fanciest stone shop in the market, Jade Origin House, and immediately got stopped by some employee with a power trip. Lin Fan, this isn't a place for someone like you. Oh great. I have superpowers now, and I'm still getting disrespected by retail workers. What's the point of inheriting an ancient emperor's legacy if some shop clerk can still ruin your morning? Did I awaken for nothing? Told him to move, called him out for acting like he owned the place when he's literally on payroll just like everyone else. He threatened to deal with me later. Sure buddy, get in line. Inside, I didn't actually buy anything. Instead, I discovered something beautiful. I can absorb spiritual energy from jade stones without cutting them open. Just quietly siphon it off like a spiritual vampire at a buffet. My cultivation ticked up a notch. Most of the energy got swallowed by the Emperor's seal inside me though. Greedy little artifact. Then SHE walked in. Qing, the Ice Queen CEO. The woman I definitely did not have extremely memorable physical contact with yesterday. She strolled in with an entourage, the shop owner personally escorting her, plus the city's #1 stone appraiser, Master Shui. Everyone was gawking at her beauty and her money. Standard Qing entrance. I stayed hidden in the crowd. She said we were even, so I'm staying even. No more being a simp. I, Lin Fan, am done chasing women. Women only slow down cultivation. Actually, wait. The Yellow Emperor's scripture says dual cultivation with a partner speeds things up significantly. My body reacted to that memory in ways I'm not going to describe. Okay, but seriously, why did the Yellow Emperor, a human emperor, develop a dual cultivation technique? Isn't that supposed to be evil sect stuff? Then again, reproduction is literally how humanity survived. So maybe he was just being practical? Yeah, practical. If I ever study this technique, it's purely for cultivation efficiency. Not because I'm a pervert. Strictly academic. Anyway, back to the important stuff. Master Shui picked 7 or 8 stones, cracked one open right there, glass-type imperial green. The whole crowd went insane. Everyone was praising his godlike expertise. Then came the main event. A massive stone, half my height, supposedly from the same mine as last year's champion stone from Myanmar. The shop owner bragged about his connections getting it. Master Shui spent 30 minutes examining it with professional tools and declared it almost certainly as good as the champion stone. Qing asked the price. 50 million. She bought it without blinking. 50 million yuan. Like ordering takeout. Everyone was amazed. I was suspicious, because I noticed the shop owner and Master Shui exchanging a sneaky little look right after the sale. The kind of look that screams, the fish took the bait. Were they running a scam on Qing? In the stone gambling world, cons happen all the time. Set up a few impressive wins to build trust, then sell the mark an overpriced dud. Classic. I couldn't just stand there and watch. She saved my mom. Whatever happened in that hotel room, she helped me when nobody else would. So I activated my origin sight, looked straight through the thick stone shell of that massive 50 million yuan rock, and every hair on my body stood up. Cold sweat exploded down my spine. What I saw inside that stone was definitely not jade. Okay, so that massive 50 million yuan rock. No jade inside. Not even a little bit. Instead, there's a puddle of blood in there. Living, squirming, crawling around blood. Like something out of a horror movie directed by a geology professor. I nearly screamed out loud. I checked the other stones Master Shui picked too. Garbage. Almost no jade, and whatever was there was mediocre at best. This whole thing was a setup. The shop owner and the legendary appraiser were running a con on Qing. Whether the old man knew about the creepy blood thing, I had no idea. But either way, I needed to stop this before she drove away with 50 million worth of haunted rocks. But here's my problem. I'm nobody. I'm the guy who cuts other people's stones for a living. If I just walk up and say, hey, the #1 appraiser in the city is a fraud and that rock is full of demon blood, they'd laugh me out of the building and probably call security. So I needed a plan. A dramatic one. I pushed through the crowd and loudly suggested that maybe the shop owner shouldn't sell after all, since he seemed so reluctant to part with his precious stones. The owner's face froze mid-smile, like someone hit the pause button on his greed. Who are you? Before I could answer, that little employee from earlier, Xiao Wang, my new nemesis, jumped in. Boss, don't listen to him. He's just a stone cutter. He can't even afford rocks. He picks up scraps other people throw away. The whole crowd burst out laughing. I thought some big shot was challenging the CEO. Just a clown looking for attention. Cool. Love that for me. Really building my confidence here, guys. The owner relaxed. A stone cutter? Not a threat. Xiao Wang puffed up like a rooster and announced he was going to throw me out personally. So I pointed at a 300,000 yuan stone and scanned the payment code. Ding. 300,000. Transferred. Done. The place went dead silent. Like someone sucked all the sound out of the room with a vacuum. Xiao Wang's hand was still reaching toward me, frozen in midair. His mouth was hanging open so wide a bird could have nested in it. 300,000. How do you have that kind of money? 1 second ago, he was calling me broke. The next second, reality slapped him across both cheeks simultaneously. Every single person who'd been laughing suddenly discovered that the real clown was the one in their mirror. Even Xin Qing looked surprised, and that woman's face normally shows less emotion than a refrigerator. Xiao Wang, I said, putting my phone away. Let me teach you something today. Never look down on anyone. Now get someone to cut this stone for me. I didn't expose the scam directly. No evidence, no credibility. If I accused Master Shui, a man worshipped by the entire stone world, of being a fraud, everyone would side with him and I'd look insane. I needed to prove myself first. In this world, without power, you're less than a dog. I keep learning this lesson. The owner told Xiao Wang to cut my stone and tried to steer Xin Qing back to completing the purchase. Nice try, buddy. I walked right up to Xin Qing. Didn't expect to see you again so soon. Gave her a casual smile. I've picked up some stone knowledge over the years. Since we bumped into each other, why not watch my stone get cut first? Just for fun, she stared at me like she was trying to solve a math equation that had suddenly changed all its numbers. I could practically see her thinking. This is the same guy who couldn't make eye contact with me yesterday? The guy who was slapping himself in a hotel room? She agreed. Told her secretary to hold off on paying. Xiao Wang looked like his brain was short-circuiting. Not only did the broke loser have money, he knew the Ice Queen? What dimension did he just fall into? The owner and Master Shui exchanged another one of their sneaky little looks. They were getting nervous. Good. The cutting machine fired up. Nobody in the crowd expected anything from my stone. A rock picked by a lowly stone cutter? Please. Xiao Wang was clenching his fists so hard his knuckles turned white, praying I'd lose everything and humiliate myself. That's when I turned to Master Shui, all casual. Hey Master, you're the expert here. What do you think of my stone? He barely glanced at it. Couldn't be bothered with a peasant. Ordinary skin. Mediocre quality. Nothing special. Guaranteed bust. Oh, I said. Yeah, that was it. No argument. No defense. Just a little smile. Because in about 30 seconds, this stone was going to punch his reputation right in the teeth. He got irritated by my calm reaction. Funny how people who look down on you get extra mad when you don't seem bothered, and started lecturing about the stone's flaws. Dark skin, visible defects, clearly inferior. Crack. The saw blade dropped. Cut him off mid-sentence. Beautiful timing, honestly. Couldn't have scripted it better. The saw cut through, and a beautiful translucent green light burst out of my stone like it had been waiting its whole life for this moment. Green. It's green, the cutter screamed. And Master Shui? The guy who literally 2 seconds ago was mid-lecture about how my stone was guaranteed trash? He choked, like someone grabbed his throat. His mouth was still open from the word he never finished, and his eyes looked like they were trying to escape his face. I have never seen a human being look more like a strangled chicken in my entire life. The crowd went absolutely nuclear. High ice jade. Crystal clear color. My 30,000 yuan stone just became worth 10 times that. Maybe more, because while Master Shui's imperial green was better quality, mine was bigger. Size matters, apparently. In jade, I held the jade in my palm like a trophy and turned to the old man with my friendliest smile. Hey Master Shui, you were saying something? I think you got interrupted. Please, continue. His face turned the color of a bruised eggplant. He was breathing so hard I thought he might actually pop. Nothing special? Guaranteed bust? I repeated his own words back to him nice and slow. Seems like the great #1 stone master of the city. Isn't all that great? He exploded. You arrogant little punk. You got lucky one time and you think you're something? If it's just luck, I said, then let's bet on it. This was always the plan. I couldn't just accuse him of scamming Xin Qing. Nobody would believe a stone cutter over a famous master. I needed to destroy his credibility publicly, dramatically, and ideally in the most embarrassing way possible. The whole place lost their minds. People were yelling over each other. Did he just challenge Master Xue? One lucky stone, and he thinks he's hot stuff. He's going to get destroyed. Master Xue glared at me like I'd insulted his entire bloodline. You want to bet against me? You're not even worthy. His disciples started rolling up their sleeves like they were about to jump me. Real mature guys. Very scholarly behavior from the students of a great master. What's wrong? I said, ignoring his little army. Scared you'll lose? I get it. At your age, if your reputation crumbles, what are you going to do for retirement? That did it. His face went through about 7 colors. Fine. You want to die? I'll grant your wish. If you lose, 10 million yuan, plus both your hands. Deal? Or crawl away? 10 million in my hands. Light stakes. Very reasonable. Totally normal Tuesday wager. Deal, I said, without hesitation. Did I have 10 million? I had 20,000. But I also had supernatural X-ray vision from an ancient emperor's magic seal, so I was feeling pretty confident about my odds. And if you lose? I asked. Same terms? 10 million in your hands. I won't lose. Sure. But let's just be clear about the rules up front. Don't want anyone backing out later. He agreed through gritted teeth. Beautiful. I set the terms. We each pick one stone. Whoever gets the more valuable jade wins. I even pointed at his giant 50 million yuan horror rock, the one full of creepy living blood, and suggested he could use that one. He and the shop owner both flinched. Interesting. So they definitely didn't want that thing cut open in public. More confirmation this whole thing was a scam, possibly something even worse. He refused to use it, saying it was for Miss Shun, and that using a 50 million stone would be bullying me. Said he could beat me with any random rock. Classic arrogant villain energy. Chef's kiss. I was actually a little disappointed. I really wanted to see what that blood thing was inside the big stone. Oh well. Then that little weasel Xiao Wang piped up again. Master Xue, shouldn't he prove he has 10 million first? He used to be a stone cutter. There's no way he has that kind of money. I was internally screaming. This guy? This absolute pest. I wanted to duct tape his mouth shut. The owner backed him up immediately. He wanted the bet canceled so he could finish his scam on Xinqing without complications. Everyone started mocking me again. Knew he was bluffing. Just a clown. Probably doing it for attention. Master Xue started grinning. What? Don't have the money. Then get on your knees and then a voice cut through the room like a blade made of ice. His bet. I'll cover it. Every head in the building snapped toward the speaker. Xinqing, the Ice Queen herself, standing there looking like a goddess who just decided to personally intervene in mortal affairs. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty cool of her. The whole room went silent. Even I was surprised, and I'm the one she was helping. Xinqing just casually announced she'd cover my 10 million yuan bet like someone offering to pay for lunch. The woman who told me yesterday, we're even, forget everything, was now publicly backing me against the most famous stone appraiser in the city, in front of hundreds of people, without me even asking. Our eyes met. I gave her a little smile. She saw through the scam too, didn't she? Smart woman. Terrifyingly smart, actually. The crowd absolutely lost it. What is happening? Isn't Master Xue a guy? Why is she siding with the stone cutter? What's the relationship between those two? People were looking back and forth between us like they were watching tennis. But Xinqing wasn't done. Oh no. She turned to the shop owner and dropped a bomb so elegant it should be in a museum. Why don't we have Master Xue cut open that 50 million champion stone? If he wins, I'll buy it for 50 million. If he loses, you owe me an explanation. Stone Boss's face melted like ice cream in July. Master Xue started sweating through his forehead like a broken faucet. They both knew what was inside that rock, and, publicly exposed, was not part of the business plan. I was internally applauding. This woman was incredible. I could set the trap, but I couldn't force them to open that stone. I'm a nobody. But when the Ice Queen of the business world says, open it, that's a completely different level of pressure. And she trusted me without even asking for proof. Just saw two guys flinch and went full attack mode. Absolute predator energy. The owner tried to weasel out. Oh, that stone is supposed to be a birthday gift for Elder Shen. Opening it publicly would ruin the surprise. If there's a premium jade inside, that's a great surprise, Xinqing said. her voice dropping to sub-zero temperatures. But what if there isn't? What's wrong, stone boss? Are you afraid? Do you not trust Master Shue's judgment? Or is there something inside that stone you don't want anyone to see? A few experienced veterans in the crowd exchanged knowing glances. They could smell blood in the water. Yeah, if Master Shue is so great, what are you scared of? Just cut it open and prove everyone wrong. People were practically grabbing popcorn. The owner was sweating buckets. And you know who he was glaring at? Xiao Wang, my little nemesis. Because this entire disaster happened because that idiot opened his big mouth about verifying my funds. If he'd kept quiet, the bet would have started normally. Shunqing would have paid for her rocks and left, and the scam would have worked perfectly. Xiao Wang was shrinking behind a display case, trembling, probably wishing he could crawl inside one of the stones and disappear forever. Karma is a beautiful thing. Master Shue tried the guilt trip. Miss Shin, are you really going to turn against me for this random kid? I came here because you invited me. I'm not turning against anyone. I just want to know if my 50-million-yuan stone is actually from the champion mine, or if someone tampered with it. She said, tampered, out loud, in front of everyone. The room erupted. She thinks the stone is fake? No way, Master Shue would never. But that's exactly why it would work, because nobody would suspect him. People were looking at Master Shue with suspicion now, which was delicious. He went pale and started shouting about his reputation. The owner jumped in saying he'd never ruin a long-term business relationship over a few thousand million. Honestly, they had a point. It didn't make sense to risk everything just for money, which meant there was something else going on, something connected to that living blood inside the stone. But I couldn't exactly say, hey guys, my magical emperor eyeballs spotted demon blood swimming around in there. That would raise some questions. Just bet with the stone, I said. If you won't, that means you're hiding something. The crowd backed me up. The veterans wanted drama. The casual watchers wanted entertainment. Everyone was screaming at them to just cut the rock open already. The owner tried one last escape. Even if there is premium jade inside, 50 million wouldn't cover it. Xinqing looked him dead in the eyes. If there's premium jade, I'll pay whatever it takes. Billions if necessary. No ceiling, no ceiling. She just wrote a blank check to corner these guys. Every exit was sealed. Every excuse demolished. I'm starting to think getting poisoned by that mystery woman yesterday was the best thing that ever happened to me. This alliance is terrifying, and I am here for it. The shop owner and Master Shue were looking at each other like two guys who just heard the police sirens and can't find the car keys. Pure panic. Beautiful. The crowd was screaming, cut it open, and more people kept showing up. The pressure was crushing them. Finally, the owner cracked. Fine. We'll cut it. It's definitely from the champion mine. Go investigate in Myanmar if you don't believe me. Master Shue tried to protest, but the owner shut him down with a whisper. Just say you made a mistake. Everyone misjudges stones sometimes. Better to be embarrassed once than destroyed forever. You could literally see the light bulb go on above the old man's head. Of course, just claim he misjudged the stone. Nobody can prove it was a scam. Temporary shame beats permanent ruin. He turned to me with renewed confidence. Go pick your stone, boy. Let's bet. Oh, you think you found your escape hatch? Adorable. Let me slam that shut for you. I walked over to the stones, pretended to browse casually, and pointed at one. This one. The entire room went quiet, then confused, then horrified. I had picked the ugliest stone in the building. A flat, dinner table-sized slab of gray, crusty nastiness that looked like it had been buried in a swamp since the dinosaurs died. The surface was covered in cracks, not one or two, mind you, but like 15 cracks running in every direction like a road map of failure. Any beginner knows cracks destroy jade. Even someone who learned about stones from a cereal box would know not to pick this one. Master Shue howled with laughter. Full on, tears in his eyes, belly shaking laughter. Are you joking? Out of everything here, you picked the most garbage stone in existence? If there's jade in that thing, I won't just pay you and give you my hands. I'll eat poop doing a handstand. The owner walked over, inspected my choice, and his entire body relaxed like someone had just given him a full-body massage. He went from, my life is over, to, Christmas came early, in 2 seconds flat. If I'm not mistaken, he said, grinning, this stone isn't even from the premium section. It's from the garbage pile. How did it end up here, Xiao Wang? my eternal nemesis, the man who cannot keep his mouth shut, eagerly volunteered. Boss, we used it to prop up the cutting machine the other day. Forgot to move it back. Never imagined some idiot would actually pick it. The mockery came from every direction like surround sound humiliation. He's done for. Thought he was an expert. Turns out he's dumber than a beginner. This is the guy who challenged Master Shui? Embarrassing. Even Shin Qing frowned. Lin Fan, are you sure you don't want to pick a different one? I looked at her and gave her my most reassuring nod. No need. Master Shui saw my confidence and got even happier. He turned to Shin Qing like a lawyer delivering closing arguments. See, Miss Shin? He knows nothing. That lucky stone earlier was a fluke. Change your mind now, and I'll forgive everything. Our friendship can continue. The owner jumped in too. That champion stone was personally selected for you. No scam at all. They were practically tap dancing with joy. 1 minute ago, they were cornered rats. Now they thought the idiot stone cutter had saved them by picking literal garbage. In their minds, once they beat me, nobody would care about the scam accusations anymore. The owner even snuck out his phone and texted someone. Mission failed? Wait, mission? So there was something bigger going on behind this. I knew it. Shin Qing didn't waver. Cut the stone, she said. Ice cold. Zero hesitation. She picked her side, and she was riding it into the ground if necessary. I respect the hell out of that. The workers heaved my ugly slab onto the machine. How do you want it cut? The cutter asked. Don't waste time on this trash, Master Shui sneered. One cut down the middle. Done. I didn't stop him. Go ahead, old man. Set yourself up. Crack. The saw split it in half. Gray. White. Nothing. Master Shui was practically glowing. See? Not even a hint of green. Not even fog. Garbage, just like I said. He was already mentally composing his victory speech. The crowd was shaking their heads, feeling sorry for the dumb stone cutter who flew too close to the sun. What's the rush? I said, stepping forward. We're not done. I picked up a piece of chalk, drew a precise line on one of the halves, and told the cutter, 3 millimeters to the left, 2 inches deep. Cut again. The cutter blinked. He looked at the owner. He looked at Master Shui. Then he shrugged and fired up the machine. Everyone thought I was crazy. I could feel 500 eyeballs burning holes in the back of my skull. But here's what none of them knew. My emperor eyes had already seen exactly what was hiding inside this garbage, and it was going to make every single person in this room forget how to breathe. The second cut hit the stone, and the saw made a completely different sound, like it suddenly realized it was cutting through something it shouldn't be. A sliver of purple light leaked out of the crack. The cutter's hands started shaking so badly he killed the machine immediately, terrified of damaging whatever was inside. Master Shui's smug grin froze on his face like someone pressed pause on a loading screen of regret. Is that purple? That's not green jade. That's purple jade? The crowd surged forward like a wave at a concert. A few minutes of careful extraction later, out came a chunk of purple jade the size of a soccer ball. Pure, glowing, absolutely magnificent. Under the sunlight, it radiated purple light like a tiny royal sun. The room went completely silent. 500 people simultaneously forgot how to breathe. Then some big-shot jade merchant, the kind of guy who's seen every gemstone on the planet, screamed like he'd seen a ghost. Royal purple. That's not regular violet jade. That's royal purple. The rarest grade that exists. I've never seen one this big. Nobody has. The silence shattered into total chaos. Master Shui was staring at the purple jade with absolutely zero color in his face. Completely white. Like a ghost attending his own funeral. 2 minutes ago, he was calling this the garbage of all garbage. He literally promised to eat poop upside down if there was jade inside. Well, buddy, not only is there jade inside, it's rarer and more valuable than the imperial green he was so proud of. And it might be a world record. The shop owner nearly fell over. This stone had been sitting in his shop for 3 to 4 years. Used as a doorstop, a machine prop, trash, and inside was a treasure worth. What? 9 figures? 10 figures? He looked like someone had reached inside his chest and squeezed his heart with an icy fist. The regret was physically destroying him from the inside out. If he'd ever bothered to give this garbage one single cut, just one, he would have been the richest stone dealer in history. Xiaolong. That poor, loudmouth, miserable little weasel? He collapsed on the floor like his skeleton had been repossessed. He looked worse than someone who lost their entire family. He looked like someone who lost their entire family and then found out they'd been sitting on $1 billion rock this whole time. Xinqing quietly exhaled and looked at my face. I was keeping it cool, calm, unbothered, like I'd just opened a can of soda instead of a priceless historical gemstone. Inside I was doing backflips, but outside? Ice. Stone cold. How much is that thing worth? 9 figures minimum. Maybe high 9 figures. Could hit 10 figures with the world record angle. Every single person who laughed at me 5 minutes ago was now staring at me with pure, burning envy. The word, idiot, had completely evaporated from their vocabularies. Suddenly, I wasn't a dumb stone cutter. I was the greatest stone genius they'd ever witnessed. And then they looked at Master Xue, the #1 appraiser, who called my stone garbage, who said it was guaranteed to fail, who promised to eat poop on his hands if it had jade. Compared to me, this legendary master looked like a toddler who'd wandered into a surgery room. I held up the royal purple jade, turned to the old man, and smiled. Master Xue, can this piece of garbage meet your standards now? He was shaking, lips trembling, couldn't form words. Don't forget our bet. 10 million and both your hands. I paused for dramatic effect, because I'm learning to enjoy these moments. Oh right, you also said you'd eat poop while doing a handstand. Don't skimp on the portions. The entire crowd exploded with laughter. Hundreds of people cackling, howling, wheezing. Every laugh was a knife in the old man's pride. He swayed, his eyes rolled back, and he fainted, just completely dropped. His disciples caught him screaming, "Master," and the whole scene turned into beautiful, beautiful chaos. I didn't waste another second on him. Turned to the shop owner. So, about that champion stone. Time to cut it open. Yes? Cut it, he spat, looking at me like he wanted to murder me with his eyeballs. In his mind, everything was my fault. His scam failed. His $1 billion jade was gone. He was definitely planning to kill me after today. I could practically see the murder plotting happening behind his forehead. Whatever, buddy. Get in line behind Zhao Ming. The machine started on the big 50 million stone. Everyone held their breath, expecting more incredible jade. I held my breath too, but for a very different reason. Because I could see inside. The creepy blood was moving. The second the saw blade got close, that living blood puddle woke up like an angry snake, squirming faster and faster. The emperor seal inside me started vibrating like an alarm. Every instinct I had was screaming danger in capital letters. A wave of cold, evil energy started leaking out through the cut. People around me shivered without knowing why. Someone said, "Why did it suddenly get freezing?" Another person gagged. "Do you smell that? Like blood?" Then the stone cracked open. Before anyone could react, thick, dark red liquid oozed out of the gap. Living liquid, crawling, pulsing, gathering itself together like it had a mind of its own. The stench of blood hit the room like a truck. Happy birthday week to me, apparently. Yesterday, I got supernatural powers. Today, I found $1 billion jade. And now I'm watching demon blood crawl out of a rock in the middle of a jewelry store. My life has gotten significantly more interesting. Everyone was screaming and running backwards like someone released a spider at a picnic. Except this wasn't a spider. It was a blob of living blood crawling out of a 50-million-yuan rock and assembling itself into a dark red seed that started spinning in midair like the world's most disgusting fidget spinner. Then it launched itself straight at Xinqing. Now, Xinqing is not a normal person. She knows about the supernatural world, the transcendent, circles, or whatever rich, powerful people call it. But knowing about scary stuff and having scary stuff fly at your face are two very different experiences. She went white as paper and tried to dodge, but this blood seed was way faster than a CEO in heels. I was already moving, stepped right in front of her, snatched the thing out of the air like catching a really disgusting baseball. The instant I touched it, my origin site kicked in and downloaded information directly from the Emperor's inheritance. Blood puppet lure plants itself inside a person, turns them into a puppet. Someone else controls their body permanently. So it wasn't just a scam for money. Someone was trying to turn Xinqing into a puppet. That's significantly worse than being ripped off on jade prices. The blood seed went berserk in my hand, squirming and drilling, trying to burrow through my skin like the world's worst pet. Cold, evil energy exploded up my arm. For about 2 seconds, things got genuinely scary. Then my Emperor Seal said, "Absolutely not," and flooded my entire body with golden divine energy, so powerful the blood seed basically had a panic attack. It let out some kind of silent shriek. I felt it more than heard it, and started dissolving like cotton candy in a tsunami. The dark red color faded, it stopped moving, and then it just puffed into gray smoke and vanished between my fingers. My palm was warm. That was it. Problem solved. Ancient evil destroyed. Took about 15 seconds. Everyone calmed down. It's gone, I shouted, and gradually the panic settled. People were staring at me like I'd just caught a missile with my bare hands. Which, spiritually speaking, I kind of did. I turned to Xinqing. You okay? She was pale, shaken, but holding it together because she's her. I'm fine. I leaned in close and quietly explained what the blood seed actually was, a puppet control parasite. Combined with yesterday's poisoning incident and today's rigged stone purchase, someone was very specifically trying to take control of her. This was a coordinated attack, not random bad luck. The look on her face when she understood? Pure ice-cold fury mixed with genuine terror. Being killed is one thing. Being turned into a living puppet is nightmare fuel on a completely different level. I looked over at the shop owner and Master Xue. They seemed genuinely shocked by the blood thing, so they probably didn't know about the puppet parasite. But they definitely set up the scam. They just didn't know the stone they were selling contained supernatural horror sauce. Xinqing went full interrogation mode. She cornered the shop owner first. Explain. Your champion stone just oozed a murder parasite. He practically groveled. I didn't know. If I knew there was something evil in there, why would I cut it open in public? If something happened to you, I'd go down too. Fair point, actually. He seemed genuinely terrified. But when Xinqing pivoted to the scam itself, the fake appraisal, the rigged prices, he locked down tight. No scam. It's really from the champion mine. Go check in Myanmar yourself. Then she turned on Master Xue, who was sitting on the floor looking like a deflated balloon. You promised me there'd be premium jade inside. Where is it? I misjudged it. Old eyes. Sorry. Getting older, you know. Can't win 'em all, one word. Misjudged. That was his entire defense. After setting up a multi-million-dollar fraud, his escape plan was, oopsie, my bad. I'm old. The crowd was eating this up. What a shameless old man. There's no way he just misjudged it. Yeah, but without proof. What can she do? If I were him, I wouldn't admit it either. They thought Xinqing was stuck. No evidence, no confession. That's when I walked over to Master Xue. What are you doing? He shrieked. His disciples tried to block me. I kicked each one of them out of the way like empty cardboard boxes. One kick per disciple. Very efficient. I grabbed the old man by his collar and lifted him up. You think if you keep saying, I'm misjudged, we can't touch you? Let's talk about something simpler then. Our bet. I dragged him over to the stone-cutting machine, which was still running. The saw blade spinning at full speed, whining like an angry metal wasp. I pressed him down onto the cutting table. The blade was about 6 inches from his face. His white hair blew in the wind from the spinning saw. His eyes were the size of dinner plates. What are you doing? He screamed again, this time approximately 3 octaves higher. What am I doing? I said calmly. You lost the bet. 10 million plus both hands. I'm here to collect the hands personally. No, please. I was just talking. IT wasn't serious. Let me go. Just talking? If I had lost, would you have let me go? A bet is a bet. Pay up. I grabbed his right hand and started pushing it toward the blade. Stop. I'll pay. 5 million more. No, 10 million. I'll buy my hands back. I almost laughed out loud. I just pulled a world record royal purple jade out of your garbage pile. You think I need your pocket change, and you know what? He was right to be scared, because I absolutely was not bluffing. This feeling, having money, having power, having the guy who humiliated you begging at the end of a saw blade, I won't lie. It felt amazing. Yesterday, I was counting coins for steamed buns. Today, 10 million wasn't even worth my attention. I could get used to this. Half an inch. That's how close the saw blade got to his fingers before the old man's entire personality collapsed like a house of cards in a hurricane. I'll talk. It was Stone Boss. He set the whole thing up. I stopped the blade and let go. Master Xue crumpled to the floor like a wet towel. Pretty sure his pants were wet too, and not from the saw's water coolant. The shop owner's face went through denial, rage, and existential crisis in about 2 seconds. Xietao, you coward. But it was too late. The floodgates were open and Master Shui was singing like a canary with a mortgage. He came to me, said all I had to do was convince Miss Shun to buy that champion stone. I didn't know about any blood monster. He paid me 30 million. The crowd turned into a courtroom jury that had already decided the verdict. Fraud. Shameless old dog. Number one appraiser? Number one scumbag. People were throwing insults like confetti at the world's worst parade. I was curious, though. If you sold the stone for 50 million and gave 30 million to Master Shui, what's in it for you? Stone Boss laughed this hollow, broken laugh. The laugh of a man who's already lost everything and has stopped caring. Money, obviously. The champion stone was 50 million, but all those other stones Shui picked for mission? Also garbage. Worth thousands, sold for millions. The whole batch was a ripoff, so the scam went even deeper than I thought. Not just one fake stone, an entire shopping cart of overpriced trash. These guys had absolutely zero moral floor. They just kept digging. But here's what bugged me. The math didn't add up for just money. Someone else was pulling the strings. That blood puppet thing was the real play. Turned Xinqing into a mindless puppet. The money scam was just the delivery system. Stone Boss was probably just a tool being used by someone bigger. Xinqing clearly figured this out too. I could see it in her eyes. She had suspicions about who was behind this, and it involved her whole family. Heavy stuff. But she couldn't discuss it in front of 500 rubbernecking spectators. Stone Boss tried to settle things. I'll pay 50 million in compensation. Deal? The crowd debated whether Xinqing would accept. Some said she should, since technically the scam was stopped before real damage happened. Others pointed out that 50 million was basically her getting her own money back, which wasn't exactly justice. But everyone agreed. The real reason Stone Boss was offering anything at all was because the Shun family could destroy him if they wanted. If this happened to a regular person, zero compensation. Not even an apology. I leaned over to Xinqing and whispered my idea. Good. I'll do what you said. She nodded, then turned to Stone Boss. 50 million. All of it in raw stones. I pick. Stone Boss's heart visibly sank into his shoes. He just watched me pull a world record royal purple out of his garbage bin. Giving me 50 million worth of free picks was basically handing over a blank check with unlimited zeros. But what could he do? Refuse and face the wrath of the Shin family? He agreed. Xinqing looked at me. Your turn. I cracked my knuckles and activated my cheat code eyeballs. Shopping spree time. I went through the entire premium section like a supernatural metal detector at the world's richest beach. Every stone with decent jade inside mine. Every piece with good spiritual energy, grabbed. I even absorbed spiritual energy from the jade while I was at it, filling up my cultivation tank. The Emperor's seal inside me was feasting like it was Thanksgiving. Took me about 30 minutes. I deliberately went slow so people wouldn't get too suspicious. With my origin site, I could have done it in 5 minutes, but that would have raised questions I didn't want to answer. By the end, I'd basically stripped the entire A section clean of anything valuable. Master Shui watched me work with his jaw on the floor. The man who'd been appraising stones for decades couldn't pick as fast or as accurately as I just did in half an hour. Best part? All that spiritual energy pushed me right to the edge of a breakthrough. I was practically vibrating with power. If there hadn't been 500 people watching, I would have leveled up right there on the shop floor. All done, I told Xinqing. She ordered everything loaded into trucks, then turned to me and, I swear this happened. She smiled. A real, actual, genuine Xinqing smile. On the Ice Queen, directed at me. I didn't know her face could do that. You saved me again today. Free for lunch? My mouth said, sure, before my brain even got the memo. Look, I swore off being a simp. But I didn't swear off eating. And I definitely didn't swear off having lunch with the most beautiful woman in the city, who also happens to be a billionaire. I'm done being a doormat, not done being a man with functioning eyeballs. One more thing first, I said, and walked back to Master Shui's crumpled form. Our bet. Time to pay. He flinched so hard, he almost teleported. You still want my hands. Relax. I'll let you keep them. But they'll cost you. One hand, 10 million. Total, 30 million. That's the bet plus the buyback. 500,000 per hand. Did I stutter? I just pulled out a stone worth 9 figures. You think I need your pocket change? 30 million. Now he transferred it. Every yuan. While crying. 30 million richer. I grabbed my royal purple jade, hopped into Xinqing's luxury car, and we drove off into the sunset. Well, it was noon, so technically we drove off into the lunch hour. But it felt like a sunset. What I didn't know was that somewhere in the crowd, an ordinary-looking old man was watching me leave with a very non-ordinary expression. He'd seen me destroy the blood seed. He'd noticed the golden light. And he'd come to the city specifically to investigate yesterday's sky-shattering phenomenon. He turned to his bodyguard, a scary-looking guy named Azure Dragon, and said, "Find out everything about this Lin fan. Check if he's registered as a Transcendent." Then his voice went cold. "And investigate that shop owner. Blood puppet lures don't just appear by accident. Someone's reaching where they shouldn't be. Find the hand and cut it off." So apparently there's a whole shadow government keeping tabs on supernatural stuff. They've now noticed me, and someone powerful enough to deploy ancient evil parasites is specifically targeting Xinqing. But right now I'm sitting in a car that costs more than my entire old apartment building, with 30 million in my bank account, a world record jade in my lap, and a gorgeous CEO asking me where I want to eat. Yesterday, I was eating steamed buns for every meal. Life is wild. 10 minutes later, I was sitting in a restaurant so fancy the napkins probably cost more than my old monthly salary. Xinqing stepped out to make a phone call, which gave me a moment alone with my thoughts and my football-sized purple jade worth 9 figures. Making money is so easy now that I honestly don't even care about money anymore. I actually thought that. Me, the steamed bun guy, the man who used to work 14 hours for pocket change, 24 hours of being the emperor's successor, and I was already bored of being rich. What a disgusting thing to feel. I loved it. Xinqing came back, and we ordered food. Well, Esichi ordered food. I told her I'd never been to a restaurant this nice before and wasn't ashamed to admit it. That's old Lin fan's life. I've moved on. Then she started staring at me like I was a puzzle missing 3 pieces. "Why are you looking at me like that? Is there a flower on my face? I'm curious. What happened to you overnight? You're a completely different person." Silence from me. Can't exactly say. "Oh yeah, my ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend cracked a magic rock over my skull, and now I'm the heir to an ancient emperor's divine legacy." That's a second-date conversation at earliest. "I won't pry into your secrets," she said, "but I can guess. You awakened. You became a transcendent." My poker face almost broke. She knew about this stuff? Then she started explaining the supernatural world to me like a professor teaching weird stuff 101. Turns out, transcendent is the umbrella term for all the crazy powers out there. Some people break through their physical limits and awaken abilities. Others find mysterious artifacts that give them powers. And others receive ancient inheritances that let them cultivate their body and soul. That last one was basically my exact situation, but I kept my mouth shut. She also mentioned alien races exist, non-human beings, which I already knew about from the Emperor's inheritance. Every race that isn't human counts as alien in this world. Good times. "You don't think I'm an alien, do you?" I joked. "I know you're human," she laughed. An actual laugh. 2 smiles and 1 day from the Ice Queen. I was on a roll. I admitted I'd become a transcendent. Seemed pointless to deny it after she watched me vaporize a demonic blood parasite with my bare hands. She asked how I knew about the blood puppet lure. I said I read about it in an old book, which was technically true if you counted psychic download from an ancient emperor's magical seal as reading. I shifted the conversation to who was trying to kill her. Yesterday the poison thing, today the puppet thing. Who did you piss off? Yesterday. I thought you promised to forget everything once you left the hotel room. Walked right into that one. You know, I definitely did not forget. Certain experiences are permanently burned into memory. Permanently. She got serious again and explained her theory. The blood puppet lure wasn't meant for her. It was meant for her family's patriarch, old ancestor Shun. The plan was for her to buy the champion stone as a birthday present, bring it home, and when they cut it open at the birthday party, boom, puppet seed flies into the old man, takes control of him, and through him, controls the entire Shun family empire. That was genuinely terrifying. Someone out there was playing chess at a level way above simple murder for hire. "That's my theory anyway," she said, looking like a warrior queen planning a counterattack. "I've already got people investigating. Stone Boss and whoever's pulling his strings will pay for this." Then she glanced at my royal purple jade with obvious want in her eyes. "Are you selling that?" "Yeah, it's not useful to me. I mean, it was useful, full of spiritual energy, but I could drain that any time. The cash would be nice too. I'll buy it at market price, she offered, then paused. Also, have you considered working at Allure Corporation? Stone consultant. 10 million a year. 10 million a year? I almost laughed. An hour ago, I made 30 million from a bet, and that wasn't even counting the jade. Why would I get a job? Having money doesn't mean you shouldn't work, she countered. At Allure, you'd get connections, resources, access to more stones. Your power is related to jade, isn't it? Working with me gives you more opportunities. Okay, that was actually smart. But still, not enough to convince me. She went quiet for a few seconds, then dropped the nuclear bomb. Yesterday was my ovulation day. Does that change the math? My brain crashed. Full blue screen. Complete system failure. What? Are you pregnant? One shot? One? On my first time? Not confirmed yet. It's just possible, she said with terrifying calmness. Even if I hadn't run into you today, I would have come looking for you in a few days. If I am pregnant, the child needs a father. I sat there processing this. Yesterday morning, I was a broke stone cutter with a cheating girlfriend. Now I might be the baby daddy of the most powerful businesswoman in the city. My life trajectory had the consistency of a drunk hummingbird. Don't worry, I wouldn't interfere with you and your girlfriend. We broke up. She broke up with you? This woman. From just 2 words, broke up, she immediately deduced that Zhou Ru dumped me, not the other way around. Because she knew how stupidly devoted I was. She graduated, got a better future, so? First thing after reaching shore, ditched the person who swam with you? I just smiled bitterly. She'd reconstructed the entire breakup from a single sentence. Talking to Xin was like playing chess against someone who could see 6 moves ahead while you were still figuring out which piece was the horse. Couldn't it be that she found out about us and left you? You wouldn't be stupid enough to tell her. Yep. Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying woman. She looked at me with something softer in her eyes. Don't be too sad. She's the one who was blind. So let me recap my current situation. I might be having a baby with a billionaire CEO who also happens to be gorgeous, brilliant, and apparently thinks my crazy ex was an idiot for leaving me. Is this still my life? Because it feels like someone else's save file. Don't comfort me. It's over. Let's talk business. What exactly would I do at Allure Corporation? Xin laid out the deal. Stone gambling consultant. 10 million a year. No office hours. No requirements. No schedule. Total freedom. Just show up whenever I feel like it and pick some rocks. My eye twitched. This wasn't a job offer. This was being a kept man with extra steps. A sugar baby with a professional title. The ultimate soft rice dinner, served on a platinum platter. And honestly, it smelled delicious. Also, all the jade from those 50 million worth of stones you picked today? Yours. I nearly choked on my fancy restaurant water. This woman just casually handed me what could be hundreds of millions in jade, like she was passing the salt. Then again, she tried to give me 3 million yesterday for medical services rendered. Generosity was apparently her default setting. I don't need the jade, I told her. You were right earlier. My power is related to jade. Specifically, I absorb the spiritual energy from it to get stronger. Those stones from today? Already drained. Empty shells. Her eyes lit up instantly. So you detect spiritual energy to tell if a stone has jade inside? This woman's brain was scary. One sentence, and she'd already figured out the core mechanism of my ability. I gave a vague, more or less, because there was absolutely no way I was telling her about my full X-ray Emperor vision. Hiring you is a steal, she laughed. Your ability is basically cheat code level for stone gambling. When you're free, I'll take you to Myanmar. Raw stones everywhere. With your sensing ability, we could buy entire mines. Entire mines. Unlimited stones meant unlimited spiritual energy, which meant unlimited power-ups. My cultivation speed would go from bicycle to rocket ship. My brain started short-circuiting from the possibilities. Since you don't want the jade itself, I'll buy everything at market price. All cash to you, she said. Transcendent cultivation burns money. Rare materials, special resources, everything costs a fortune. You need to be rich. She extended her hand. Elegant, perfectly manicured, impossibly soft-looking. Any other questions? If not, welcome to Allure Corporation. None. I shook her hand. Her skin was exactly as silky as it looked. I may have squeezed slightly longer than professionally appropriate. She raised an eyebrow but didn't pull away or murder me, which I counted as a win. Finish lunch, then we go to the office for your onboarding. Deal. I didn't mention that Zhou Ru, my beloved ex who told me I'd never set foot in Allure's building, now worked there too. Big company, probably wouldn't even run into her. Why make things awkward? In the car ride over, Xinqing dropped another piece of information that made my blood pressure spike. By the way, yesterday's sky phenomenon? The whole global transcendent community is going crazy. They think someone above S rank awakened. Powerful factions from everywhere are flooding into the city to find this person. I kept my face completely neutral while internally screaming. That was me. I caused that. Every powerful entity on the planet was currently looking for me. Above S rank sounds impressive, I said casually. How strong is that? Apex of the pyramid. Nationally and globally, the government is already investigating. One of China's pillars of stability, the heaven-suppressing king, Qin Zhen, was an above S rank awakening. Cool, cool, cool. I'm being compared to national-level weapons of mass destruction. Very normal. If they find this person and they're righteous, they'll be recruited and valued, she continued. If they're a threat, they'll be eliminated. Eliminated. That word hit me like a bucket of ice water. Right now my actual power level was roughly, guy who can break some bones and see through rocks. But my awakening signature was screaming, world-ending cosmic entity. If the government found me before I got strong enough to back up that signature, I was toast. Fancy government toast. I needed to get stronger. Fast. I also glanced at Xinqing and wondered, had she already connected the dots? Sky phenomenon yesterday, me suddenly having powers today? She was smart enough. If my identity leaked someday, which side would she be on? We arrived at Allure Corporation. I stepped out and stared up at the gleaming skyscraper. Zhou Ru's voice echoed in my head. You're just a bottom-level stone cutter. No matter how hard you try, you'll never walk through Allure's doors. Well, here I was. Not just walking through the doors, personally invited by the CEO. 10 million a year. No schedule. Picked up in her private car after a fancy lunch. Life really does write better plot twists than any novel. Xinqing got a phone call. Dad? Great-grandfather wants to see me? About the blood puppet thing? I'm coming right now. She turned to me apologetically. Emergency family meeting. My secretary Chun will handle your paperwork. You met her at the Jade shop. I'll catch up with you later. She drove off and I walked into the building, flopped onto a leather sofa in the lobby that was softer than any bed I'd ever owned, and closed my eyes. Since I had a few minutes, I figured I'd do some light reading in the Emperor Seal's mental library. Specifically, the Yellow Emperor's scripture of companion cultivation. For academic purposes. Strictly research. I was 3 paragraphs into some very educational ancient text when a voice shattered my concentration like a brick through a window. Lin Fan? What are you doing here? I opened my eyes. Zhou Ru, my ex-girlfriend. Standing right there in the lobby of the company, she told me I'd never enter. Staring at me like she'd just seen a ghost sitting on the company furniture. Universe, your comedic timing is absolutely flawless. I wasn't even sitting there for 5 minutes before the universe decided to speed-run the drama. I had my eyes closed, peacefully studying ancient bedroom cultivation techniques for purely academic reasons. When, Lin Fan? What are you doing here, Zhou Ru? Of course. I told myself, big company, probably won't run into her. The company has like 1,000 employees, and I bumped into her within 60 seconds of entering the building. The universe has a sixth sense of humor, and I am its favorite punchline. She stormed over like a tiny angry tornado in business casual. Who let you in here? Me being here has nothing to do with you, I said, keeping it cool. But she wasn't listening. She'd already constructed an entire fantasy in her head where I was a pathetic ex-boyfriend stalking her to the office. She launched into a speech so condescending it should have come with a TED Talk stage. I know why you're here. We're over. Stop clinging to me. It's disgusting. Go back to your dirty little stone-cutting shop and stop contaminating this building with your presence. I just stared at her. She looked exactly like a clown. Not metaphorically. She was literally performing for an audience of passing employees who were slowing down to watch. Don't flatter yourself, I said. I'm not here for you. I'm here because I work here now. You? Work here? She laughed so hard I thought she'd pull a muscle. Did you hit your head? Look at yourself. Cheap clothes, standing in this lobby like a homeless person who wandered in. What would you even do here? Janitor? Security guard? Oh wait, are you going to cut stones in the lobby? People were staring now, which only made her worse. She actually lowered her voice and tried a different angle. Fake concern. Lin Fan, for the sake of what we had, I'll warn you nicely. Leave. Leave the company, leave the city. You broke Zhao Ming's leg and hand. When he recovers, he'll destroy you. Oh, now you have feelings. How touching. I gave her my best sarcastic smile. Or is it that you're embarrassed to be seen with me? Scared I'll tell everyone you were cheating on me. Her face went white, then red, then volcanic. If you say one word about that, I'll make sure you relax. I'm not going to advertise your shameless behavior. You might not have dignity, but I still do. You're calling me shameless? It's your fault for being a worthless. And that's when the universe delivered the most perfectly timed entrance in the history of dramatic irony. Click, click, click. The sound of professional heels approaching at high speed. Mr. Lin, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. Secretary Chun, Xinqing's personal right hand. The woman who bows to no one in this company except the CEO herself, came practically jogging toward me with the most respectful smile I've ever seen on a human face. Miss Shin has given me instructions to handle your onboarding personally. Zhou Ru's mouth was still open from her unfinished threat. It just stayed open, like someone had hit the pause button on her outrage and replaced it with a loading screen of pure shock. Mr. Lin? Miss Shin gave instructions. Secretary Chun is being nice to him. I could literally see her brain trying to reboot. She looked at me. She looked at Secretary Chun. She looked at me again. Blue screen. Error 404. Reality not found. See, Zhou Ru knew exactly who Secretary Chun was. In this company, Chun was basically the emperor's chief eunuch, the gatekeeper, the enforcer, the person who could end your career with a single phone call. Directors and vice presidents didn't even get a smile from this woman. And here she was, practically rolling out a red carpet for the dirty stone cutter. Secretary Chun noticed Zhou Ru, recognized her. New hire in design, rumored to be sleeping with department head Zhao Ming, known to be a bit full of herself, and immediately read the tension in the air. Mr. Lin, do you know Miss Zhou? We've met, I said flatly. Not well. Shall we go do the paperwork? Of course, Mr. Lin. Right this way. I started walking. Didn't look at Zhou Ru. Not even a glance. Wait, she finally rebooted. You actually got hired at Allure. Yep. I paused for exactly the right amount of time. But sorry to disappoint, not as a stone cutter. As the stone gambling consultant, Secretary Chun, reading the room like the professional assassin she was, added with a pleasant smile. That's correct. Mr. Lin was personally recruited by Miss Shin. Annual salary, 10 million yuan. I didn't even have to twist the knife. Secretary Chen did it for me. With a smile. While being polite. The most elegant destruction I've ever witnessed. Zhou Ru's legs buckled. She actually stumbled. The woman who 20 seconds ago was telling me I was too dirty for this building just learned that I made more money than her entire department combined. Was personally hired by the CEO she worshipped and was being escorted by the most powerful secretary in the company. I turned back to her one last time. You're right, Zhou Ru. We really aren't from the same world anymore. Then I walked away. Didn't look back. Secretary Chun led me to Xinqing's private elevator, the one reserved exclusively for the CEO, and the doors closed on Zhou Ru's frozen, devastated face. Secretary Chen glanced back at Zhou Ru as the doors shut, and I caught a flicker of pure, refined contempt in her eyes. She'd figured out the whole story in 30 seconds. Smart people are terrifying. As for Zhou Ru, she stood there in the lobby, shaking with rage, and called Zhao Ming. I don't care that your leg is broken. Lin Fan is here. He's working at Allure. Destroy him. Yeah, good luck with that. The guy whose leg and hand I snapped like breadsticks is going to come fight me in the building where I'm protected by the CEO. Brilliant strategy. Truly the mind of a chess grandmaster. Meanwhile, I was riding a private elevator to my new corner office life, making 10 million a year to basically exist. Yesterday, she threw me away like garbage. Today she watched me ascend to heaven, and I didn't even have to say anything mean. The facts did all the talking. So apparently Zhou Ru speed-dialed Zhao Ming the second the elevator doors closed on her shattered ego. I know this because roughly 30 minutes later, the man himself showed up with a small army. But first, the good stuff. Secretary Chen set me up in her office, poured me tea like I was visiting royalty, and called in the HR department. The HR director, Su Mingyu, Walked in with two assistants, and I immediately understood why this company was 80% female. It was like a modeling agency that accidentally started doing business. Su Mingyu was surprised I wasn't some 60-year-old stone expert. So young and already so accomplished, she said. Her two assistants were looking at me like I was the last slice of cake at a birthday party. By the time the paperwork was done, both of them had added me on WeChat with the enthusiasm of competitive Olympic athletes. Single, rich, young. Apparently I'd become a hot commodity overnight. After everyone left, I got bored and went for a walk around the office. And oh my God, this company. Women everywhere. Young, fashionable, beautiful women in every direction. It was like working inside a fashion magazine. Maybe having a job isn't so bad after all, I muttered to myself. I wasn't being a creep. I was appreciating aesthetics. Old men stare at pretty girls too. I'm just being human. Then I heard footsteps. Lots of them. Angry ones. Zhao Ming was marching toward me with like 15 security guards carrying batons. His leg, the one I definitely snapped in half yesterday, was completely fine. Walking on it like nothing happened. You dare show your face at Allure? I was genuinely confused. Hold on. How is your leg working? I broke that thing in half less than 24 hours ago. Now I was fascinated. Modern hospitals are amazing, but they're not that amazing. His arm was still in a cast, so it wasn't like he'd healed naturally. Something else was going on. This world isn't as simple as you think, you insect, he snarled. There are people with unimaginable power who can move mountains. Fixing a broken leg is nothing to them. A transcendent healed him. So Zhao Ming had connections in the supernatural world. Interesting. If it's so easy, I said, genuinely curious. Why didn't they fix your arm too? None of your business. I like having my arm in a cast. Sure you do, buddy. The truth was obvious. Getting a transcendent to heal you costs a fortune, and he could only afford one limb. The other arm was still dangling in plaster because his budget ran out. A problem I caused, by the way. You're welcome. Get him. Break both his arms, both his legs, and his third leg too, his third leg. This man just ordered his goons to destroy my, you know what, in a corporate office building, during business hours. Stay classy, Zhao Ming. You might want to reconsider, I said, my voice going cold. I'm the stone gambling consultant personally hired by Miss Shan. Consultant? I'm a department head. I outrank you. Get him. Whatever happens, I'll take responsibility. 15 security guards with batons came at me all at once. Fine. I activated the chaos technique and met them head on. Batons started swinging, fists started flying, and I was right in the middle of it. Zhao Ming watched from behind his wall of muscle, grinning like a movie villain who peaked in middle school. In a minute you'll be begging on your knees. And somewhere behind him, peeking from around a corner, was Zhou Ru, my wonderful ex-girlfriend. The woman who threw me away like a used napkin. She was enjoying this. I tried to warn you nicely, and you humiliated me instead. You deserve this. You should have stayed in your dirty little stone yard forever. If you succeed, that means I was wrong to leave you, and I'm not wrong. My choice was right. That last part was the most honest thing she'd ever said. She didn't actually care about Zhao Ming beating me up. What she really couldn't handle was the possibility that dumping me was a mistake. If I succeeded, her entire life narrative collapsed. She needed me to fail so she could keep telling herself she made the smart choice. Sorry, Zhou Ru. I'm about to disappoint you. Again. The fight lasted about as long as a microwave burrito. 15 security guards with batons came at me, and 15 security guards with batons went to sleep on the floor, including their captain, some retired special forces guy who apparently knew an ancient martial art. He lasted maybe 3 extra seconds. Gold star for effort, buddy. The hallway went dead silent. Every employee who'd gathered to watch was frozen mid-gossip. They'd all expected to see me get demolished. Instead, they got to watch 15 grown men get launched across the hallway like bowling pins at a company retreat. Not possible, Zhou Ru screamed from somewhere behind the crowd. The woman could not catch a break today. Every time she declared something about me, reality immediately did the opposite. Your turn, I said, walking toward Zhao Ming with his own security guard's baton. The man who was grinning like a psychopath 10 seconds ago, now running. Actually physically trying to run away. In his own office building. From the guy he just called an insect. I cut him off instantly. He flattened against the wall like a cartoon character. Lin Fan. Think about this. You just started working here. If you hit me, You'll get fired. Funny how quickly I'll destroy you becomes, let's be reasonable, when the power balance shifts. You were going to cripple me, including my third leg. Remember? I was joking. Just wanted to rough you up a little. Nothing serious. Then this beautiful, incredible, Oscar-worthy moment happened. Zhao Ming, the man who stole my girlfriend, who stepped on my face with designer shoes, who called me a dog, looked me in the eyes and said, "How about I give Zhou back to you? We can call it even. Give her back." Like returning a borrowed lawnmower. Like she was a library book he'd kept past the due date. The entire hallway of spectators collectively gasped. The gossip mill went into hyperdrive. Wait, she was his girlfriend. She cheated on this guy to be with Zhao Ming. I always knew Zhou Ru was trash. Hold on. This morning he pulled out a jade worth hundreds of millions. She left him? Is she brain dead? Zhou Ru went white. Completely, totally white. She'd just heard the man she betrayed me for. The man she chose because he was better. Offered to hand her back like an unwanted Christmas present to save his own skin. Not even a second of hesitation. Just, here, take her. Please don't hurt me. That's the man you traded me for, Zhou Ru. A coward who'd throw you away to avoid a beating. Truly, an upgrade. Some girls in the crowd were whispering that I was basically their dream boyfriend material. Yesterday's garbage, today's hot commodity. Life is funny. Give her back to me, I said, backing Zhao Ming into the corner. Interesting offer. Yes? And money too. I'll compensate you. Let's shake on it, and forget everything. He actually extended his hand for a handshake. The audacity. The audacity. I smiled warmly and swung the baton directly onto his outstretched arm. Crack. His scream echoed through the entire floor. Bone snapped clean. Arm went floppy like a pool noodle. You wanted to cripple all 5 of my limbs? Fair is fair. I'll give you the same treatment. I broke his other arm. The one that was already in a cast. Rebroke it. That transcendent healer, he paid a fortune to fix his leg? Wasted money. Because I broke that leg again too. 3 for 3. Full reset. Go find your transcendent buddy again. Maybe they'll give you a loyalty discount. The crowd was stunned silent. Several of the girls who'd been calling me dream boyfriend were reconsidering. He's hot, but is he okay? Like mentally? A little light punishment in the bedroom is one thing, but this. Fair concern, ladies. But in my defense, he started it. Both times. Then came the grand finale. I tossed the baton aside, raised my right foot, and brought it down squarely on Zhao Ming's special area. The sound it made was descriptive, like crushing a grape at a wine festival. Except sadder. His scream changed pitch. Went from baritone to soprano in one stomp. Dogs 3 blocks away probably started howling. I leaned down close to his ear and whispered, so only he could hear. You played with my woman? Let's see if your transcendent friend can fix that. His eyes rolled back, and he passed out. Probably for the best. Some things are easier to process unconsciously. Everyone move. Clear the hallway. Secretary Chen's voice cut through the crowd like a hot knife through butter. Everyone scattered. Behind her was Xin Qing, back from her family meeting. Xin Qing's face was completely blank, professional CEO mask firmly in place. Her eyes moved from me, to the 15 unconscious security guards scattered like fallen leaves, to Zhao Ming's crumpled body with 4 twisted limbs. Her eyelid twitched slightly when she saw his arms and legs bent at impossible angles. What she didn't know was that the real damage wasn't the limbs. Zhao Ming would trade every bone in his body to undo that last stomp. Some things, not even a transcendent can put back together. Welcome to Allure Corporation, everyone. I've been employed for approximately 45 minutes, and I've already beaten up 15 people and permanently altered a department head's reproductive future. I think I'm really going to like it here. Xin Qing walked in like a boss, entering a room where someone accidentally set off fireworks indoors. 15 unconscious guards, 1 very broken department head, and me standing in the middle looking like I'd just finished a particularly intense gym session. You don't need to explain, she said before I could even open my mouth. I already know everything. Of course she did. Secretary Chun had already briefed her on the entire soap opera. The fight, the confrontation, and oh yeah, the fact that the ex-girlfriend who dumped me happened to work in her company. What are the odds? Actually, given how this week has been going, probably about 100%. She looked across the hallway at Zhou Ru, sizing her up like a CEO evaluating a failed product. I could practically hear her internal review. Attractive, but catastrophically stupid. Zero judgment. Would not invest. Zhou Ru ran over in a panic. Miss Shun, today's situation has nothing to do with me. Xin didn't even let her finish. Turned to the HR director like Zhou Ru was furniture. Effective immediately, Zhao Ming, fired. Security Captain Li, fired. All involved personnel, fired. The position of Strategic Development Department head will be filled by Lin Fan. I'm sorry, what? The hallway went silent. Then I could feel 500 brains simultaneously computing. The guy who just destroyed a department head got promoted to department head. I was equally confused. I didn't even know what the Strategic Development Department did. I was about to protest when Xin gave me a look that said, "Shut up now. Talk later." So I shut up. I'm learning. Then she turned back to Zhou Ru, voice cold enough to freeze lava. You're fired too. Zhou Ru's face disintegrated. Why? I didn't do anything. Everything today happened because of you. You can't fire me just because of my personal relationships. Allure doesn't employ stupid people. And it definitely doesn't employ people with no character. 2 sentences. No yelling. No drama. Just pure, surgical devastation delivered in a tone you'd use to order coffee. The entire hallway flinched. Zhou Ru collapsed. Literally crumpled to the floor. Tears pouring out. Her one source of pride, working at Allure Corporation, had just been shattered by the CEO personally, in front of every colleague she'd ever strutted past. Every single eye in that hallway was on her, filled with contempt, mockery, and the particular glee that humans feel when karma happens to someone who deserves it. She scrambled up and ran, stumbling in her heels, mascara running, dignity completely gone. Like a stray dog that just got kicked out of the house it thought was its own. Deserved it. About 40 people muttered simultaneously. Xin cleared the crowd and told me to follow her. In the elevator, alone, I finally spoke. I'm really sorry about today, not your fault. She shook her head. I didn't expect your ex-girlfriend to be working here. Why didn't you tell me? Didn't seem important. She's a stranger to me now. Then I asked the important question. What does the Strategic Development Department actually do? I am wildly unqualified. She explained that Zhao Ming came from the Zhao family, political connections with her father. The department was basically fake. Just a parking spot for a rich kid with a fancy title. She'd been looking for an excuse to clean house, and I'd just handed her one wrapped in a bow. So it's a fake department. Cool. I can handle fake. It was fake, she corrected. Starting now, it's going to be one of the company's core divisions. Your ability to sense jade is Allure's biggest strategic advantage. This department will handle 3 to 5 year resource planning, jade mining rights, mineral reserves, strategic acquisitions. She was basically saying she wanted me to use my supernatural cheat powers to build a jade empire, using a fake department that she was going to turn real. With me, a guy who was cutting stones for minimum wage 48 hours ago, as the head. Okay, trust yourself. Your abilities are real. We'll build this together. Then, as we stepped out of the elevator, she casually dropped a bomb. By the way, Stone Boss is dead. What? Dead? Did you? She paused mid-step and looked at me. No. Do you really think I'm that ruthless? I mean, a little. But I kept that thought to myself. He was silenced. Someone killed him to cut the trail, so whoever was behind the blood puppet scheme had already cleaned up their loose ends. Stone Boss knew too much, so he became a dead end. Literally. All leads gone. Not all. We're still investigating. I'll keep you updated. She showed me my new office. Brand new, spacious, with actual windows and furniture that didn't come from a dumpster. She specifically didn't give me Zhao Ming's old office because, her words, she thought it might gross me out, considerate and terrifying. Like it. This is the nicest room I've ever been in that wasn't a hotel lobby. Meanwhile, somewhere downstairs, Zhou Ru was packing her desk while her entire department watched and whispered. Talk about karma. She was strutting around like a queen because she was sleeping with the department head. Pathetic. And then someone dropped the final tactical nuke. Hey, did you hear? That Lin Fan guy found a jade this morning worth hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions? He's basically a billionaire. Zhou Ru's hand stopped moving. Her heart physically seized, like someone had stabbed it with every regret she'd ever earned. The colleagues around her said she grabbed her chest and turned so pale they thought she was having an actual medical emergency. and scattered like roaches so they wouldn't be blamed if she dropped dead on the spot. She stood there in the empty office, gasping, processing the fact that the man she threw away like garbage was now richer than everyone she'd ever met combined. And then, because Zhou Ru's brain operates on a special wavelength, her very first thought after learning her ex-boyfriend was 100-millionaire was, I suffered through those hard years with him. Half that jade money should be mine. Unbelievable. Truly, genuinely unbelievable. The audacity was almost admirable. Almost. I was sitting in my brand new office, eyes closed, about to break through to the next cultivation level, when someone knocked on my door. I opened it and immediately wished I hadn't. Zhou Ru, standing there looking pitiful. The same woman who called me garbage, a waste of space, and too dirty for this building, now standing in my office with puppy dog eyes. Lin Fan, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Can we get back together? When you throw something in the trash, do you dig it back out? Because I don't. The pitiful act lasted about 30 seconds before she dropped the mask and went full goblin mode. Fine, forget getting back together. But I heard you found a jade worth hundreds of millions. I suffered through years of hard times with you. I deserve half. I thought I misheard her. My brain actually refused to process the sentence the first time. I said, give me half your jade money. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because when a human being reaches a certain level of shamelessness, laughter is the only response your body can produce. It's a defense mechanism. Zhou Ru, people can be shameless, but there are limits. So what? I slept with you for years for nothing. She actually said that. Out loud. In a professional office building. She basically just called herself a, you know what? I'm not even going to finish that thought. Right at that moment, because the universe has impeccable dramatic timing, Xinqing walked in. Zhou Ru immediately shrank 3 inches. It was like watching a balloon deflate in real time. Why are you still here? Xinqing asked, voice like a freezer door opening. Then she walked over to me, grabbed my hand, and turned to Zhou Ru. He's mine now. Understand? Zhou Ru's eyes nearly fell out of her skull. She looked at our intertwined hands like she was watching math that didn't add up. Impossible. You and him. Actually, I should thank you, Xinqing said with a smile sharper than a scalpel. If you weren't so stupid and blind, he never would have ended up with me. Zhou Ru's entire psychological infrastructure collapsed simultaneously. The man she threw away didn't just get rich. He upgraded to the most powerful woman in the city. She wasn't just wrong. She was cosmically, historically, legendarily wrong. Future generations would study her decision as a cautionary tale. She started sobbing uncontrollably. Xinqing picked up the office phone with zero emotion. Send security to remove Zhou Ru from the building. 2 minutes later, guards dragged Zhou Ru out while she screamed my name. Xinqing told them if Zhou Ru ever appeared again, they'd all be looking for new jobs. They practically launched her out the front door. The door closed. Silence. Very charged silence. So, why'd you come by? I asked, trying to act normal despite the fact that the most beautiful woman in the city had just publicly claimed me as her man. Chen told me she was bothering you. Just solving a problem. She didn't explain the hand-holding. I didn't ask about the hand-holding. We both just pretended the hand-holding was a normal business interaction. Follow me, she said, and walked out. She led me to Allure Corporation's jade vault. My jaw hit the floor, and then fell through the floor, and then kept falling. Hundreds of jade pieces, maybe over 1,000. Premium, high-grade, museum-quality jade everywhere I looked. The spiritual energy in this room was so thick I could practically swim in it. This single vault was worth enough to put Xinqing near the top of any rich list, and this was just one room. You need spiritual energy from jade, right? Everything in here, it's all yours to absorb. I almost cried. Actually, genuinely almost cried. Oh, and there are 2 more warehouses full of raw stones. Take whatever energy you need, whenever you want. This was like telling a starving man he now owned a buffet chain. This was like giving a phone addict unlimited data. This was the greatest gift anyone had ever given me, and it wasn't even close. Haven't seen you this excited all day, she laughed, then left me alone. Take your time. Come find me when you're done. The valuation for your royal purple came in. I watched her leave and felt genuinely moved. The trust this woman had in me, leaving me alone in a vault worth billions, was insane. I barely knew her for 2 days. We'd had one medical emergency encounter, and she was treating me like family. I decided right there, whatever threats she faced, whatever shadow conspiracy was targeting her family, I was going to protect this woman. Not because of romance. Not because she was pretty. Because she gave me something nobody else ever had. Respect, trust, and a room full of jade to power up and like a video game character at a rest stop. I sat down and started absorbing. The spiritual energy flooded into me like a fire hose connected to a swimming pool. My meridians expanded, my energy channels widened, and it hurt like absolute hell. Imagine every blood vessel in your body simultaneously deciding to become a highway. The pain was extraordinary. No pain, no gain. Suffer now, drive a Range Rover later. I growled through clenched teeth. If I can't handle this, how am I supposed to be the human emperor? Inside the seal, the artifact spirit, the ancient consciousness responsible for testing whether I was worthy, peeked at what was happening outside and got genuinely excited. In the old days, this amount of spiritual energy was pocket change. But after thousands of years of energy drought, it hadn't eaten this well in ages. This kid might actually work out. It mumbled, then disappeared. 1 hour later, I was done. 4 sublevels. Broken through in one session. I went from cultivation level 1 to level 5, nearly touching 6. Without this jade vault, that would have taken 3 to 5 years of grinding. I did it in 60 minutes while sitting on a cold floor. My entire being had transformed again. Before, I was like an unsheathed sword, sharp, aggressive, obvious. Now I was like a blade hidden in its scabbard. The power was greater, but invisible, contained, dangerous in a quiet way. I stood up, dusted myself off, and headed to Xinqing's office. I owed this woman more than I could calculate, and I was going to make sure nobody, not the Zhao family, not the mystery puppet master, not anyone, ever touched her. But first, I needed to pick up my check for the royal purple. Because even future emperors appreciate getting paid. Did you break through? Xinqing noticed the change in me immediately. The woman had supernatural perception, or maybe I just looked different after having my entire internal energy system renovated like a house on a home improvement show. Yeah? Thank you, seriously. I won't forget this. Don't mention it. I brought you to Allure to help you succeed. She texted Secretary Chen something. My phone buzzed. 10 billion yuan. 10 billion. In my bank account. Just sitting there. With all those zeros lined up like little soldiers of wealth. Yesterday, I was debating whether I could afford 2 steamed buns or just one. Today I had 10 billion yuan in my checking account. My brain couldn't handle the math. It was like my poverty neurons were having a seizure. The royal purple was valued at nearly 10 billion. Plus the other jade, I rounded up. The 50 million in stones from today will be calculated separately once they're cut, she said, rounded up, like she'd tossed in an extra few hundred million as a tip. Just casual billionaire rounding. No big deal. Then she handed me a car key. As department head, you need a vehicle. Here's a Range Rover. If you don't like it, Chen will get you something else, a Range Rover. My literal dream car. Literally. 1 hour ago, I was motivating myself through cultivation pain by saying, suffer now, drive a Range Rover later. And now she's handing me the key to one. The universe was either reading my mind or running a comedy show specifically for my benefit. Then she kept going. I have a 200 square meter apartment near the office. I use it occasionally when I work late. It's yours now. I'll send you the address and door code. I went quiet. Besides my parents, nobody in my entire life had ever been this good to me. Not even close. Zhou took everything I gave and threw me away. Xinqing kept giving without asking for anything back. I'm touched, I admitted, sniffling slightly. Very manly sniffle. Warrior sniffle. I can only repay you by offering my body. In your dreams. I feel like a kept man. Fine, then I'm keeping you. Eat your soft rice and be grateful. We both laughed. Something shifted between us. The distance got smaller. The air got warmer. And a thought I never would have dared think before suddenly appeared in my brain. I want this woman. Not as a benefactor. Not as a boss. As mine. Which reminded me, was she pregnant? I activated my origin sight and casually glanced at her stomach. Nothing visible. Then I realized, it happened yesterday. Even supernatural Emperor X-ray vision can't detect a pregnancy 12 hours in. That's not how biology works. Even in a world with demon blood parasites and golden sky phenomena, sperm still needs more than a day to find an egg. Probably. But as I was pulling my vision back, something else caught my attention that made my heart nearly stop. Her body, her physical constitution. It matched something from the Yellow Emperor's scripture, the one about dual cultivation that I'd been studying for purely academic purposes. I looked more carefully. Up, down, up again. My breathing got heavier. My eyes got wider. She had it. The absolute peak, top tier, legendary dual cultivation physique. The kind the scripture described as once in a millennium. If we practiced dual cultivation together, both our powers would skyrocket. "What's wrong with you?" she asked, noticing me staring. "Nothing. Nothing at all," I said, while internally my brain was screaming. Do not let this woman get away. Secure the target. This is not a drill. Then a darker thought hit me. Did the person who drugged her with the aphrodisiac yesterday know about her special body? Was that connected? Do you think yesterday's poison and today's blood puppet were from the same people? I asked, trying to fish for information casually. Probably not. Yesterday's attack was likely internal, Shin family politics. Someone within my own family drugged me, her own family. These people tried to drug their own relative. Rich families really are a different species of messed up. I'll handle it, she said. Don't get involved in Shin family business. It won't benefit you. Fair enough. I had enough enemies already. After some more chatting, work hours ended, and I headed downstairs to the parking garage. Found the Range Rover. Sat inside, gripped the leather steering wheel, felt the engine rumble to life. I drove out of the company like a man reborn. Because I was reborn. 48 hours ago, I was riding a rusty bicycle to a stone-cutting yard. I didn't go to my crappy rental apartment. I headed to a different part of town, the old urban village where my mom and sister lived. The place I grew up. The place I could never afford to upgrade. All those years, every penny I earned went to Zhou Ru's tuition, Zhou Ru's living expenses, Zhou Ru's phone, Zhou Ru's everything. My mom and sister got scraps. Not anymore. The guilt was heavy. Dad never got to see me succeed. He died while I was working overtime to pay for a woman who would eventually cheat on me. That one hurt in a way no cultivation breakthrough could fix. I stopped at a store, loaded up on health supplements and good food, and pushed open the front door of our little house. Xiao Fan is home. Mom came out to greet me. She looked pale, weak, thinner than I remembered. Mom, what happened to you? Are you sick? It's nothing, just a little under the weather lately. She grabbed my hand with fragile fingers and smiled. My heart cracked. She wouldn't tell me she was sick because she didn't want to bother me. Classic mom move. Infuriating, heartbreaking mom move. You came alone? Where's Xiao Ru? She's working late. I couldn't tell her about the breakup. If she found out her future daughter-in-law dumped me, cheated on me, and then demanded half my money, her blood pressure would launch her to the moon. And she was already clearly unwell. I heard Xiao Ru is getting a permanent position at that big company. How's that going? Mom still thought Zhou Ru was the perfect girlfriend. She had no idea her beloved future daughter-in-law was currently being escorted out of a building by security guards after demanding $500,000,000 for years of sleeping with me. Let's not talk about her. Let me check your health first. I activated my origin site and scanned my mother's body. My heart dropped through the floor, through the foundation, and kept sinking into the earth. What I saw inside her was bad. Really, really bad. Since when do you know medicine? Mom laughed, looking at me like I'd just announced I could fly. Just a little something I picked up. She was trying to downplay her condition. Just a small problem. Already went to the hospital, no big deal. But my origin site was telling a very different story. And the look in her eyes, that quiet sadness she was trying to hide, told me she already knew exactly how bad it was. She was hiding terminal cancer from me, late-stage lung cancer. Because she didn't want to be a burden, my eyes burned. My chest felt like someone had parked a truck on it. All those years I spent pouring every penny into Zhou Ru's tuition, Zhou Ru's rent, Zhou Ru's lifestyle, while my own mother was wasting away in a crumbling house, too proud and too loving to ask for help. Dad died of a brain hemorrhage, and I didn't even make it to his bedside because I was working overtime to pay for a woman who was cheating on me. Some mistakes you can never undo. Dad's death was a wound that would never fully close. Mom, I know it's lung cancer. Late stage. Her face went white. How? Did Xiaoning tell you? So my little sister knew too. Everyone knew except me, the idiot son who was too busy being a doormat to notice his mother was dying. Nobody told me. I diagnosed it myself just now. What's the point of knowing? It's terminal. Incurable. After we finally paid off your father's hospital debts, I got sick again. Xiaoru just got her good job. Your life is finally improving. I can't drag you down again. This woman, dying of cancer, and her first concern was not ruining MY finances. Meanwhile, her future daughter-in-law was across town demanding $500,000,000 she didn't earn. Mom, I'm rich now. Very rich. New job. Great boss. She even gave me a luxury car. Come look. I took her outside to see the Range Rover. Her eyes went wide as dinner plates. This car must cost tens of thousands, several million, actually. She literally yanked her hand away from the car like it was made of lava. Several million? My heavens. Why is it so expensive? Classic mom reaction. Goes from, oh how nice, to, don't touch it, we can't afford to scratch it, in 0 seconds. I held her hand. Mom, your son made it. We're never going to worry about money again. She grabbed my hand right back with a grip that could crush walnuts. Lin Fan, you tell me the truth. What is this new job? You better not be doing anything illegal. If you're a criminal, I'll die with my eyes open and haunt you. Chinese mom threat level, maximum. She'd literally haunt me from the afterlife if I turned out to be a drug dealer with a Range Rover. I explained about the Jade, the consultant job, Xinxing's company. She was skeptical. A consultant gets a car worth millions? Then she connected the dots. Wait, Allure Corporation? Isn't that where Xiaoru works? Sigh? Might as well rip the Band-Aid off. Yes, and we broke up. She did something unforgivable. I told her a simplified version. Mom sighed. Not angry, just sad. She liked Zhou Ru. Everyone did, before they found out what she really was. Enough about her. Let me treat you now. I found some acupuncture needles in a drawer and got ready. Mom looked at me like I was a toddler holding a power tool. She clearly thought this was nonsense, but she loved me too much to refuse. I started placing needles according to the divine farmer emperor's medical knowledge from my inheritance. First few needles, a little shaky, hence slightly unsteady. After that, smooth as butter. The ancient knowledge kicked in and my hands moved like they'd been doing this for decades. I channeled my energy through the needles, making them vibrate with spiritual power. Warm energy flowed into her lungs, surrounding the tumors, dissolving them like sugar in hot water. Mom's eyes went huge. The coughing that had been plaguing her for months? Gone. The chest pain? Vanished. She could breathe again, deep, full breaths without agony. Xiao Fan, where did you learn this? A wandering Taoist priest taught me, I said with a straight face. A Taoist priest? What? Some kind of immortal? Maybe. He said he knew you were sick and specifically taught me medicine to cure you. Nonsense, she laughed, but she was crying too. Happy tears this time. 1 hour of treatment later, I pulled out all the needles and wiped the sweat off my forehead. Mom, the tumors are gone. We'll go to the hospital tomorrow to confirm, but you should be cured. Cured? You cured late-stage lung cancer? Yeah. I'll get you some herbal supplements to rebuild your strength, and you'll be back to normal soon. She broke down sobbing. I wasn't afraid to die. I was just afraid of never seeing you and Xiaoning again. I hugged her and promised she'd live to 100. And unlike all my previous promises, the ones I made while broke and powerless, this one I could actually keep. Where's Xiaoning anyway? Let's go out for dinner to celebrate. She's been going to a classmate's house after school to do homework. Let me call her. Mom dialed my sister's number. No answer. Called again. Nothing. Third time. Voicemail. That's strange. She always picks up. A cold feeling crept up my spine. The kind of feeling you get when you've had the best day of your life and the universe decides you've been too happy for too long. My little sister wasn't answering her phone. She never didn't answer her phone. Something was wrong. I called my sister's phone. Nothing. Called again. Nothing. Again. Dead silence. The cold feeling in my gut was turning into a full blizzard. I called her best friend Ling Ling, who hemmed and hawed before finally spitting it out. My little sister Xiao Ning had been working as a waitress at Haoqing Entertainment, the biggest, sketchiest karaoke club in the district, after school. Every day, to earn money for mom's medical bills. My heart shattered into approximately 10,000 pieces. My 17-year-old sister was working in a nightclub because her useless older brother had been too busy funding a cheating girlfriend to notice his own mother was dying. The guilt hit me like a freight train carrying more guilt. Mom started crying. I told her to stay home, said it was probably nothing. Maybe the music was too loud for Xiao Ning to hear her phone. I didn't believe that for 1 second, But moms need comforting even when everything is clearly on fire. I drove to Houching Entertainment like the road had personally offended me. A 15-minute drive became 5 minutes. Pretty sure I violated every traffic law that exists and possibly invented a few new violations. Walked in. The lobby manager came over with his customer service smile. "Welcome. How many in your party? I'm here for Lin Yining. She works here. I'm her brother." His smile vanished like it was never there. "Sorry, employees can't receive visitors during work hours. Company poll. Bring my sister out or I will physically disassemble this building." "Excuse me? Do you know whose place this is?" He called 4 bouncers. Big guys. Black suits. Muscles. Attitude. The first one opened his mouth to threaten me. I closed it for him with my fist. His nose relocated to a different part of his face. The other 3 went down in about 4 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. Like popping bubble wrap, except the bubbles were 200 pounds each. The lobby manager's tough guy act dissolved instantly. I grabbed him by the throat and lifted him off the ground with one hand. "Where is my sister?" "3rd floor. Room 388. He wheezed, feet dangling. I dropped him and sprinted upstairs. Room 388. Door slightly open. I could hear a rough voice inside. "Little girl, I picked you. That's your luck. Can't even drink 1 glass with me? You want me to just take what I want right here?" Then I heard her, my little sister, crying, begging. "No. Let me go." Something inside me broke. Not broke like sadness. Broke like a dam made of pure volcanic rage. Since inheriting the emperor's power, I'd been angry before, at Zhou Ru, at Zhao Ming, at Master Shui. But those were campfires compared to what ignited in my chest right now. I kicked the door so hard it nearly came off its hinges. The room froze. 8 men staring at me. And there was Xiao Ning, my baby sister, curled up in the corner of a couch, school uniform torn, zipper ripped open, face covered in tears. Some tattooed thug with a dragon on his back had her by the hair with one hand and was pouring alcohol into her mouth with the other. Every cell in my body screamed one word: kill. "Big brother?" Xiao Ning saw me and burst into hysterical sobbing, trying to run to me. The tattooed man yanked her back by the hair. He looked me up and down with an amused grin. "Oh, you're her brother? Brave, coming in here alone. Let her go. And I'll let you leave alive." Silence. Then the entire room erupted in laughter. 8 grown men cackling like I'd just told the funniest joke of the century. "Let us leave alive?" The tattooed man laughed hardest. Then his face snapped into something ugly and violent. "Kid, do you know who I am? Don't care. Release my sister. Last chance. Nobody's talked to me like that in years." His eyes went dark. He let go of Xiao Ning's hair and stepped toward me. "I'm going to break you first. Then I'm going to make you watch while He described what he planned to do to my sister. In detail, while grinning. I'm not going to repeat what he said, but I will say this. In that moment, I made a decision. A very simple, very calm, very final decision. This man was not leaving this room on his feet. And depending on how the next 30 seconds went, he might not be leaving this room at all. Let me go second. No, me second. These animals were literally fighting over the order in which they'd assault my little sister. While laughing, like it was a party game. Xiao Ning, my terrified 17-year-old sister, found courage from somewhere deep inside her soul and screamed, "Brother, run. Forget about me." The tattooed guy, second master, or whatever his idiotic street name was, started another disgusting sentence. He got as far as, "This is getting really excited." He did not finish that word. I moved so fast my foot cracked the floor. Literally, the marble split under me like a special effect. My fist connected with his face at a speed that made his brain and his skull file for divorce simultaneously. Crack. His nose caved in. His teeth evacuated his mouth like passengers fleeing a sinking ship. Blood went everywhere. He crashed into the coffee table, and I kicked him across the room like a soccer ball made of garbage. I reached Xiao Ning in 2 steps. "Are you okay?" She threw herself at me, sobbing into my chest. I was so scared. "It's over. Nobody's touching you. Big brother's here." 5 or 6 guys charged at me. Brave, but profoundly stupid. I told Xiao Ning to close her eyes. What happened next wasn't suitable for a high school student. Grabbed a beer bottle off the table, launched it at the first guy's skull. It exploded on impact like a glass grenade. The rest went down in seconds. Chaos technique running. Spiritual energy sharpened like invisible blades. They hit the floor screaming. Xiaoning opened her eyes anyway because she was worried about me. When she saw 8 grown men writhing on the floor and her brother standing untouched in the middle, her jaw nearly dislocated. Big brother. Since when? I'm fine. Here, put on my jacket. Go wash your face in the bathroom. We're leaving soon. She want to clean up. I turned to the tattooed piece of human waste bleeding all over the coffee table. Now then, who are you? Scared now, aren't you? He spat through his mouth full of broken teeth. Too late. Not scared. Just need to know where to find you later. I grabbed his hair, slammed his face into the table, picked up a beer bottle, and smashed it over his head. Then another. Then another. 7 or 8 bottles total. Each one popped like a champagne cork at the world's angriest celebration. Beer and blood pooled on the table like the worst cocktail ever invented. My anger went from boiling to merely volcanic. Progress. This hand touched my sister, right? I grabbed a broken bottle and drove it straight through his right palm, pinning it to the table like a butterfly in a horror museum. He passed out from pain. Understandable. This hand probably touched her too. Pinned the left one as well. 2 hands nailed to a coffee table. Very biblical, now that I think about it. Then, because I'm developing a signature move at this point, I stomped on his special area. The pain woke him up from unconsciousness. That's how bad it was. He was literally too hurt to stay passed out. He thrashed on the table, tearing his pinned hands apart on the broken glass, screaming in a pitch that shouldn't be physically possible for a grown man. The other guys in the room? Every single one of them peed themselves. Not figuratively. Actually, literally lost bladder control. They were looking at me like I was Satan doing overtime. Honestly, they had a point. Compared to killing someone quickly, what I just did was significantly worse. Death is an ending. What this guy was experiencing was an ongoing situation. Did any of you touch my sister? No? No, we didn't. We swear. Good. Now, who are you people? Turns out they were from the Double Dragon Hall, a local gang. This charming gentleman was Dragon 2, the vice boss, which meant there was a Dragon 1, the big boss. Tell Dragon 1 I'll be visiting him tonight. Midnight. We're going to have a chat. Then I looked at the remaining guys. Also, each of you breaks one of your own hands. You can do it yourselves, or I can do it for you. They broke their own hands so fast, grabbed furniture, smashed their own bones, barely hesitated. Self-inflicted fractures beat my version any day of the week, and they knew it. Xiaoning came out of the bathroom. I walked her past the carnage, down the stairs, past the lobby manager who looked like he'd rather eat his own shoes than make eye contact with me, and out to the car. Brother, whose car is this? Mine. New job. Boss gave it to me. Listen, our family doesn't need money anymore. You're done working. Just focus on school, okay? I'm sorry. She started crying again. I almost ruined everything and dragged you into danger. I ruffled her hair. Don't apologize to me. You were trying to help Mom. That makes you the bravest person I know. Will they come for revenge? No, I said with absolute certainty. They won't, because dead men don't do revenge. And tonight, after I drop Xiaoning home, I have a midnight appointment with Dragon 1 that he doesn't know is actually a funeral consultation. His funeral. After calming Xiaoning down in the car, I got the full story. She'd run into an old classmate who worked at the club, doing companionship drinking, which is exactly as sketchy as it sounds. The classmate said even regular waitressing paid better there. Mom needed cancer treatment money, so Xiaoning lied about going to a friend's house and started working shifts after school. She was 17, working in a nightclub, to save her dying mother. Because her older brother was too busy buying iPhones for a cheating girlfriend to notice his family falling apart. I told her the family was rich now. She didn't believe me, called me a liar. So I opened my banking app and handed her the phone. She counted the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brother, this is really well photoshopped. It's the actual app. It's not photoshopped. Oh my God. She almost dropped the phone. Looked at me like I'd just revealed I was secretly Batman. You actually have 10 billion, earned it cutting stones. Completely legal. Don't tell Mom or she'll have a heart attack on top of the cancer I just cured. I feel like I'm dreaming. You're not. Tomorrow we're buying a big house. Your waitressing career is officially over. She cried happy tears. I wiped them away. Then I noticed the slight swelling on her face from where that animal had grabbed her, and my blood turned to liquid nitrogen. They were dead men walking. They just didn't know it yet. We got home. Mom was waiting at the door, worried sick. Xiao Ning ran into her arms. I dodged Mom's questions with vague answers. Nobody needed more stress tonight. Mom cooked dinner. The three of us sat around the tiny table in our crumbling little house, laughing and talking. It was warm. It was real. For the first time in years, my family felt like a family again. After dinner, Mom and Xiao Ning went to bed. I went to my room, meditated, cultivated, waited. At midnight, I opened my eyes, slipped out of the house without making a sound, and drove toward Double Dragon Hall headquarters. I parked the Range Rover a few blocks away. Not because I was scared, because I just got this car today, and I was not letting a bunch of street thugs scratch the paint. A man has priorities. Walked up to their front gate. 7 or 8 gangsters smoking cigarettes outside. The hell do you want? Get lost. I'm here for Dragon 1. Dragon Boss? Who the hell are you? He doesn't meet random. Wham. Send him flying before he could finish. I was really getting tired of people not finishing their sentences around me today. Tell Dragon 1 the guy who destroyed his brother is here. I'll wait. Their faces went white. Someone sprinted inside screaming, he's here. The guy's here, like a fire alarm with legs. Within seconds, footsteps came from everywhere. Behind me, in front of me, from inside the building, from the alleys. Dozens of gangsters with machetes and clubs surrounded me in a circle. Now, I'll be honest. Looking at 30-plus guys with actual sharp metal weapons pointed at me, my heart rate did increase slightly. This was my first time being surrounded by an armed mob. Yesterday's version of me would have soiled himself and surrendered immediately. But then I thought about the Emperor's legacy, about the responsibility of suppressing all races under heaven. If I couldn't handle a bunch of street thugs with kitchen cutlery, how was I supposed to face alien races and ancient monsters? And then I thought about Xiao Ning, curled up on that couch, uniform torn, crying, that man's hand in her hair. The fear evaporated. What replaced it was much, much worse. For them. He heard our boss. Chop him up, one guy charged. Then everyone charged. A tidal wave of screaming men and flashing blades. I activated the chaos technique and met them head on. Dodge. Punch. Rib cage collapses. Duck under a machete swing. Kick. Knee bends backwards. Spin. Elbow to the jaw. Teeth fly like popcorn. Every hit I landed broke something. Bones snapped like dry pasta. Men dropped like someone was pulling their batteries out. The screaming was constant. Theirs, not mine. I grabbed a machete from a guy who no longer needed it, on account of being unconscious, and felt something click inside me. A cold, predatory focus. They came at me with killing intent. Fair enough. Same rules apply. The machete started finding targets. Slash. Stab. Cut. Bodies hit the ground. Some screamed. Some twitched and went quiet. I looked at the first man I'd killed and waited for the horror, the guilt, the existential crisis. My honest reaction? That was surprisingly okay. Look, these weren't innocent people. These were gang members who watched their boss try to assault a 17-year-old girl and fought over who'd go second. My sympathy reserves for them were at absolute zero. The remaining thugs started backing away. The murder enthusiasm had left the building. Turns out gangsters are very brave right up until someone fights back with equal or greater violence. Where's Dragon 1? Bring him out. Nobody answered. They were too busy reconsidering their career choices. I tightened my grip on the bloody machete. No? Fine. I'll go floor by floor until I find him. The silence was deafening. Blood pooled on the concrete. Bodies were scattered across the entrance like someone had dropped a bag of violent confetti. Somewhere inside that building, Dragon 1 was hearing the screams get closer and probably wondering if his life insurance was up to date. Spoiler alert, it wasn't going to matter. I was about to go full slasher movie on the remaining thugs when a guy with gold-rimmed glasses walked out. The gangsters parted like the Red Sea and bowed. Snake Master, so this was the Double Dragon Hall strategist, nicknamed Cobra. Looked like an accountant. Apparently killed like a snake. Never judge a nerd by his glasses. Lin Fan, right? Dragon Boss is expecting you. You know my name? Wasn't hard to find. I also know where your family lives. My blood pressure spiked, but he kept talking. I'm actually surprised you showed up. You know leaving here alive won't be easy. Why would I be scared? Because if you hadn't come, it wouldn't just be you dying. Your mother and sister wouldn't have survived tomorrow. I put the machete against his throat so fast he didn't even see me move. I really don't like being threatened, especially with my family. To his credit, the guy didn't panic. Wait, I'm the one who stopped them from going to your house tonight. I said we should wait for you. If you came, we deal with you. If you didn't, then we'd go find you. Debts have to be collected from the debtor, not the family. I stared at him for a long second. He was telling the truth. This snake had actually protected my family by buying time. Fine. For that, you live tonight. I lowered the blade and walked past him. He stared at my back, and I could practically hear his survival instincts screaming. I almost just died. We entered a big hall. Dragon 1 was sitting on a couch, smoking a cigar like a low-budget mob movie villain. Next to him, wrapped in bandages like a mummy who'd lost a fight with a blender, was Dragon 2. My handiwork from earlier. Still alive, unfortunately. Dragon 2 saw me and went absolutely berserk. You. Come. I'll. Kill. He could barely talk through his destroyed mouth, but the enthusiasm was there. Perfect timing, I said. I was going to come find you separately, but you saved me a trip. Dragon 1 blew out cigar smoke and looked at me like I was already a corpse. Kid, you've got guts, but you're not leaving here alive tonight. And tomorrow, I'm sending people for your mother and sister. They'll be. He described what they'd do to my family. Again, these brothers really had a thing for making speeches about what they'd do to my mom and sister. It was like their only conversation topic. Sounds like I came at the right time then, I said, my voice going sub-zero. Because tonight, if you don't die, I won't be able to sleep. So, everyone dies. Everyone? I have hundreds of men, hundreds of blades. Who do you think you are? He screamed for his ambush team. Gangsters poured out from behind every wall, every door, every shadow. Surrounded me completely. Blades everywhere. Dragon 1 changed his mind about killing me quickly. Actually, Snake, go grab his mother and sister right now. I want him to watch what happens to them before he dies. That was his last mistake. I launched myself toward Dragon 2 first. Not Dragon 1, Dragon 2, the one who touched my sister. The one who held her hair and poured alcohol down her throat. The one who described in graphic detail what he planned to do to her. He saw me coming. Tried to run. Couldn't. Because I'd already broken all his limbs and crushed his reproductive system earlier tonight. He was a bandaged worm on a couch. Dragon 1 realized too late. Don't you dare, my blade came down. Dragon 2's head, still wrapped in bloody bandages, separated from his body and flew upward. Blood erupted from his neck like a fountain, painting the ceiling of their fancy golden hall in crimson. His head hit the floor and rolled to Dragon 1's feet. The eyes blinked twice, saw his own headless body on the couch, and then went dark forever. Brother! Dragon 1's scream shook the building. Don't worry, I said, flicking blood off the blade. You're next. Brothers should travel together. It'll be less lonely on the road to hell. Kill him. Kill him now. Every gangster in the building rushed me at once. Dozens of machetes coming from every direction. I was covered in blood within seconds. But here's the fun part. None of it was mine. I'd activated my spiritual energy barrier, an invisible shield of pure force around my body. Their blades bounced off me like plastic toys hitting a tank. They literally couldn't cut me. It was like trying to stab a brick wall with a butter knife. Meanwhile, my blade worked perfectly fine on them. I carved through them like a lawnmower through dandelions. Bodies dropped. Blood sprayed. The fancy marble floor became a skating rink of red. Somewhere off to the side, a guy in a Hawaiian shirt was watching me with an increasingly serious expression. Is he a transcendent? He muttered. The snake guy next to him didn't hear. Hawaiian shirt kept staring, analyzing. The surviving gangsters backed away. They'd seen enough. Their friends were scattered across the floor like broken furniture. Nobody wanted to be next. Come on, I roared, standing in a circle of bodies, drenched in blood that wasn't mine. 5 million. 5 million to whoever kills him. Dragon 1 was desperate now. One brave idiot with an axe took the offer. I cut his hand off at the wrist. The axe clattered to the floor, still gripped by detached fingers. The next volunteers suddenly remembered they had prior commitments. 5 million is a lot of money. But corpses have terrible spending habits. Your turn. I walked toward Dragon 1, dripping blade in hand, stepping over bodies like a man navigating a messy living room. Stop him. Someone stop him. Dragon 1 was screaming at his men. His men were looking at each other like, you first. No, you first. Nobody moved. These were guys who made a living being scary, And right now, every single one of them was terrified of the blood-soaked 20-something walking calmly through their headquarters. Some of them actually moved out of my way. Just stepped aside, like I was a waiter carrying a hot plate. Useless. All of you. Dragon 1 reached behind his back and pulled out a gun. A gun. Okay, I'll be honest. I'd never seen a real gun pointed at me before. My confidence did a little wobble. Swords and machetes bounced off me like rubber, but a bullet? That was an untested variable. And untested variables aimed at your chest are not fun. Not so tough now, HUH. Dragon 1 caught my hesitation and went full maniac grin. All that kung fu means nothing when I've got this. One squeeze and you're dead. I said nothing. Internally, I was running the chaos technique at maximum power, activating the Emperor's seal, pulling every defensive ability I had online like a spaceship going to battle stations. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? You killed my brother, and now you're gonna pay. Bang. He fired. Time to test a theory. I activated my origin sight, and something incredible happened. The entire world slowed down. Everything became slow motion. The bullet leaving the barrel, the smoke, the shock wave. I could see it all, like someone had pressed the 0.25x speed button on reality, including the bullet coming right at my chest. Moving fast, but not fast enough. I stepped sideways. The bullet sailed past me and hit the gangster standing behind me. Poor guy. Collateral damage from his own boss. He dropped with a hole in his chest. Dragon 1's grin froze like a screensaver. His brain was trying to process what his eyes just saw. A human being. Dodged. A bullet. Even Hawaiian shirt guy in the corner, the secret Transcendent, flinched. I caught his expression. He looked like someone who'd just been told the laws of physics had been updated without his permission. Apparently, even he couldn't have dodged that shot. You're right, I said, pointing my blade at Dragon 1. Kung Fu can't beat a knife. But there's another saying. In all martial arts, only speed is unbeatable. You're a Transcendent. Figured it out? Little late. Zhang Xi. Kill him. 30 million. And no, 50 million. Dragon 1 screamed at Hawaiian shirt. So this Jiangsu guy was their secret weapon, a Transcendent bodyguard on the payroll. This was Dragon 1's ultimate card. Jiangsu looked at me, looked at Dragon 1, did some quick math. Nah, I like living. This money isn't worth dying for. He literally turned to me and said, Bro, I'm just here for the show. Do your thing, Jiangxi. I pay you every year. You're our guardian. You can't just. A few million a year and you want me to fight that? Jiangsu's voice went cold. Keep talking and I'll kill you myself. Dragon 1's last card had just politely folded. The ultimate backup took one look at me and chose unemployment over death. Smart man. I actually respected that. No beef with you then. Let me finish this and we'll talk. Sure thing, bro. Take your time. Dragon 1 had the gun. That was his only hope. He started firing wildly. Bang, 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 bang. Emptying the clip at me like a man watering his garden with bullets. I dodged every single one. Each dodge smoother than the last. By the third bullet, I was practically dancing. By the fifth, I was showing off. My origin sight made it feel like dodging beach balls thrown by toddlers. Click, click, click. Empty. Dragon 1 stared at the useless gun in his shaking hand, then at me, now standing 3 feet away, completely untouched. He broke. I'm sorry. Dragon 2 is dead. He's been punished. I'll give you 50 million. No, 100 million. Just please, please don't kill me. He fell to his knees. Literally knelt. The feared gang boss of the entire district, kneeling in a puddle of someone else's blood, begging. I swear I won't seek revenge. I'll leave the city. I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. I already told you, I said, looking down at him. If you don't die tonight, I can't sleep. Please. Your brother's waiting for you on the road to hell. He's probably getting impatient. Let me help you catch up. The blade swung. His head left his shoulders with a sound like cutting through a watermelon. It bounced across the floor, rolled a few times, and stopped. Blood shot from his neck like a broken fire hydrant. Complete silence. The surviving gangsters were shaking so hard they looked like they were vibrating. Their 2 bosses, both dead. One headless on a couch, one headless on the floor. Their Transcendent bodyguard had quit mid-battle. Their entire organization had just been decapitated. Literally. I turned to Jiangsu. Your turn. Jiangsu looked at me like I'd just told him the sky was green. Me? You want to kill me too? I came here tonight to eliminate problems. You're a potential problem, dude. We have zero beef. You killed the Dragon Brothers. Problem solved, he had a point. But I was in thorough cleanup mode. Leave one loose end, and it comes back to bite you. That's like villain survival 101. You work for Double Dragon Hall? I said. Worked. Past tense. My employers are currently decorating your shoes with their neck blood. Nobody's signing my paychecks anymore. I'm not going to avenge 2 dead guys for free. What do I look like? A charity. Fair argument. Also, fighting another Transcendent when I didn't need to was probably dumb. And I couldn't exactly murder every single person in the building. There were dozens of witnesses. Kill everyone who knows my secret, plan had a scalability problem. Fine. You live. I turned to Snake Master, who'd been watching this whole negotiation with the expression of a man trying to calculate his survival odds on a broken calculator. Dragon Brothers are dead. Double Dragon Hall surrenders, he said, adjusting his glasses with trembling fingers. Tonight was Dragon 2's fault. No revenge. You have my word. I've heard that gang rules say whoever avenges the boss becomes the new boss. That's a lot of motivation for someone ambitious. He gestured at the surviving gangsters, who were currently competing for the title of palest human being alive. Look at them. Who's going to avenge anything? You dodged bullets. Attacking you is just suicide with extra steps. What about you? Cobra. Supposedly cunning. Kills without leaving traces. Okay, my actual name has the character for pardon in it. I wear glasses. People started calling me Cobra as a joke. It stuck. I'm literally an accountant with a scary nickname. I don't buy it. Rumors are destroying my life, he sighed. Then he got serious. Listen, I'm the one who stopped them from going to your house tonight. Without me, your mom and sister would already be in danger. You're strong, but you can't be everywhere. And tonight's body count? Someone needs to clean this up before it attracts attention. What kind of attention? The Enforcers. The government organization that monitors Transcendents. A Transcendent killing this many regular people? They will investigate. That got my attention. Xinqing had mentioned something like this. So there was an actual supernatural police force. Good to know. Also slightly terrifying, given that I'd just committed what could generously be called excessive self-defense across an entire building. Zhang Su was watching me carefully during this conversation, and I could tell he was thinking, this kid doesn't know about the Enforcers? How new is he? Smart guy. Dangerous observation. But also, if he realized I'd achieved this level of power shortly after awakening, that made me even scarier to mess with. Silver lining. All right, I said. You live? But your word isn't enough. What do you want? Can you control Double Dragon Hall? Yes. Good. Follow me upstairs. Both of you. We went to an office. I sat down and got straight to business. Here's the deal, Snake. You want to live? You belong to me now. I have a method to control your life and death. You'll need me to refresh it monthly, or you die. Your choice. Accept or gamble that I'm bluffing. His face went through about 9 emotions. I'll skip the gambling. My luck tonight has been terrible enough. I pulled out acupuncture needles and went to work. He felt the energy enter his body, and any remaining skepticism evaporated. This was real. His life was literally in my hands now. Zhang Su was watching from the corner with eyes the size of golf balls. He'd seen poisons used for control before, but needles? This was new. And he absolutely understood that I was doing this in front of him on purpose. Message received. I have scary abilities you don't understand. I pulled the needles out and casually mentioned, while I was in there, I fixed your heart condition. You get stabbing pains in your chest at night, right? Without treatment, you'd be dead in 3 years. Snake Master's composure finally shattered. His eyes went wide. Nobody knew about his heart problem. He'd been to the best hospitals, the most famous doctors. None could fix it. And one of them had given him the exact same 3-year timeline. I'd just diagnosed and cured a condition that the entire medical establishment couldn't touch. In 30 seconds. As a side effect, consider it payback for protecting my family tonight, I said. Snake Master stared at me for a long moment, then dropped to one knee. From this day forward, my life is yours. I am yours. Double Dragon Hall is yours. Whatever you command. He meant it. Not because of fear, because I'd saved his life while simultaneously holding it hostage. The most aggressive act of kindness in the history of employer-employee relations. Zhang Su looked like his brain was buffering. He's a fighter and a doctor? Is he a cultivator? I sent Snake Master to go clean up the aftermath and turned to Zhang Su. So I said, let's chat. His guard went up immediately. If you're planning to use those needles on me too, I'll fight to the death. I mean it. Fair enough. He'd just watched me turn a gang boss into a loyal servant with acupuncture. I'd be nervous too, but I didn't want to control Zhang Su. I wanted something more useful from the first Transcendent I'd ever met, information. And maybe, if he wasn't a complete psychopath, an ally. Because here's what tonight taught me. I could fight. I could kill. I could even dodge bullets, apparently. But I couldn't be everywhere at once. Mom and Xiao Ning would always be vulnerable when I wasn't around. I needed people. Loyal, capable, preferably supernatural people. And Zhang Su, the guy who looked at death and chose unemployment over heroism, was exactly the kind of pragmatist I could work with. Relax, I said, sitting on a couch that probably had blood on it somewhere. I just want to talk. Just talk? Because I want to be crystal clear, Dragon One and I were business associates, not best friends. He's dead now. Dead people can't pay invoices. I have zero motivation to avenge a cancelled client. Fair. So explain your job to me. Aren't Transcendents not supposed to hurt regular people? What about the enforcers? Of course I'm scared of the enforcers. But they can't be everywhere at once. Zhang Su lit a cigarette. I mostly do bodyguard work. Dragon One calls me when he's in danger. I show up. And if I have to kill someone to protect him, the enforcers call it passive defense. Totally legal. I'm just exploiting loopholes. So you're basically a supernatural lawyer. Rules are dead. People are alive. He took a drag. But what you did tonight, slaughtering your way through an entire gang headquarters, that's going to cross some lines. Even normal law has proportionate response. Your sister was already safe. You came here and murdered people to prevent future revenge. That's legally creative, let's say. They threatened my family. If I hadn't come, they'd have attacked my house tomorrow. I was right to come. Hey, don't tell me. Tell the enforcers. They're the ones you need to convince. He leaned back, looking annoyingly relaxed. Shouldn't be long before they come knocking. Too many bodies tonight. Snake Master can clean up a lot, but this isn't exactly a quiet incident. Are you enjoying this? What? Me? No. I'm a very upright person. I would never take pleasure in someone else's misfortune. Upright? If you were upright, you wouldn't have stood there watching me kill Dragon One while doing absolutely nothing. His smile cracked. You really go for the jugular, huh? Look, 5,000 million wasn't enough to risk my life. And I didn't refuse because I was scared. I refused because I felt an instant connection with you. Like a brotherhood thing. Friendship at first sight. My eye twitched. This guy's shamelessness was almost impressive. Lin Fan, I'm guessing you became a Transcendent pretty recently. I hesitated, then nodded. No point hiding it. He'd clearly figured it out. And I needed information more than I needed secrecy right now. As long as nobody connected me to the sky phenomenon, I was fine. Knew it. All right, since we're basically best friends now, I'll be your guide to the supernatural world. Free of charge. Because friendship, he explained the power ranking system. Transcendents are rated F through Super S. International standard. Wait, F through S? You're talking about power levels. What else? Bra sizes. F is the weakest, not the biggest. Super S is the strongest. Don't mix this up. What level are you? D. I involuntarily glanced at his chest. I said it's not BRA sizes. His face was twitching so hard I thought he might have a stroke. I genuinely couldn't help it. He set that up himself. He broke down the tiers for me. F rank can beat about 10 Special Forces soldiers, punch with 1,000 pounds of force. He handles 20 or 30 soldiers easily. D. His level can barely dodge handgun bullets. You dodged those bullets tonight pretty casually, so you're probably C rank. B rank doesn't even need to dodge, they just tank bullets. Some B ranks can shrug off rifle fire like it's rain. I wondered if my spiritual energy shield could handle that. Mental note, do not test this voluntarily. A rank equals a small army by themselves. S rank can survive heavy military weapons. Basically Superman. And Super S? I asked. Strategic level existence. One person can destroy an entire country. That's not an exaggeration. I know. The heaven-suppressing king, Qin Jun, is Super S. Oh, you know about old Qin? Yeah, he's one of China's pillars. Then Zhang Su started explaining the organizational structure, and my brain shifted into high gear. There are two main supernatural government bodies. The Spirit Suppression Bureau, basically the military, handles external threats. And the Transcendent Bureau, basically the police, monitors domestic transcendent activity and handles supernatural incidents in the regular world. The enforcers come from the Transcendent Bureau. Above both of them sits something called the Dragon Soul Hall. The Dragon Soul Hall is the real deal, Zhang Si said, lighting another cigarette. Legend says it was created in ancient times by the 3 human emperors to protect China for 10,000 years. My brain exploded. 3 human emperors created Dragon Soul Hall to protect humanity. I was sitting there holding the human emperor seal, the inheritance of those same 3 emperors, in my body. The artifact spirit inside me was literally their remnant consciousness. The organization that governed the entire supernatural world of China was founded by my predecessors. What was the connection? Was I supposed to lead the Dragon Soul Hall eventually? Were they looking for me? Would they worship me or arrest me? Did the current Dragon Soul Hall even know their founders left behind an inheritance? My head was spinning so fast I probably looked like I was having a seizure. You okay? Zhang Su asked. Fine. Totally fine. He reminded me to register with the Transcendent Bureau. When the enforcers find you, and they will, don't fight them. If you're incredibly lucky, they might recruit you. Even as a freelancer, that's basically becoming a civil servant. Government benefits. And once you're one of theirs, they'll overlook a lot. Other factions will think twice before messing with you too. So essentially, the supernatural equivalent of, get a government job and you're set for life. My mom would be so proud. She's been telling me to take the civil service exam since I was 16. Except instead of passing a written test, my entrance exam involved dodging bullets and decapitating gang leaders. Same energy, different format. If it's so great, why haven't you joined up? I asked Zhang Si. I'm a free spirit, a wild horse, an eagle that cannot be caged. He ran out of metaphors. Fine. My family's ancestral grave doesn't produce enough mystical smoke. They won't take me. Happy. I actually laughed. This guy was growing on me. Like a fungus, but a funny one. He explained that the Transcendent Bureau was created because supernatural people kept multiplying and someone needed to manage them. Not everyone qualifies for recruitment. Even freelancer status is hard to get. Then he got serious. Never underestimate any transcendent. There are cultivators like you, sure, but also people with bizarre supernatural abilities, awakened powers, alien race creatures, demons, ghosts, evil spirits, vampires. The world got weird fast after spiritual energy returned. Adapt or die. He handed me his business card. I gave him my number. He said he was investing in our friendship because he was sure I'd be somebody important one day. After I left, I'm pretty sure he added me to some kind of networking spreadsheet. The guy literally mumbled to himself. That's lucky friendship number 17 this year. Cast a wide net. At least one of them has to make it big. I'm so smart. Buddy, I can still hear you. Snake Master met me downstairs. The blood was already cleaned up, which was impressively efficient for a guy I'd threatened to kill an hour ago, and I drove home. The night wind blowing through the car window helped me think. Today had been a lot. Got a job. Got 10 billion yuan. Got a Range Rover. Cured mom's cancer. Rescued my sister. Killed a gang. Made 2 new subordinates. Learned the entire structure of the supernatural government. And apparently the organization that rules all of supernatural China, the Dragon Soul Hall, was founded by the same 3 emperors whose inheritance was currently living inside my body. Was I supposed to lead it someday? Take over? Show up and say, hey, your founders left me the keys? Not now. Way too dangerous. I was a C-rank baby emperor with a target the size of Jupiter on my back. If anyone found out about the human emperor seal before I was strong enough to protect it, I'd be dead before breakfast. I got home, showered, and passed out. Slept like a baby. No nightmares. No guilt about the killing. The chaos technique automatically ran while I slept, restoring me to peak condition. Very convenient, like a spiritual Roomba for your soul. Morning. Mom had made breakfast. Xiao Ning was setting the table. Her eyes were a little puffy from crying, but she smiled when she saw me. I exhaled with relief. After breakfast, you go to school. I'm taking Mom for a checkup. I feel much better already, Mom protested. Why waste money on? We're going. Non-negotiable. Yeah, Mom. We're going. Xiao Ning backed me up. Mom gave in. She'd always been terrible at winning arguments against both of us. In the car to the hospital, Mom asked how she should explain her miraculous recovery. Then she casually mentioned her doctor. Dr. Wen Rujin. She's very nice. Very pretty too. Oh, I recognized that tone. That was Mom's. I'm about to play matchmaker voice. Whoever marries her would be blessed for 8 lifetimes. Mom, why are you telling me this? Well, before you wouldn't have been good enough for her, but now you're a medical genius. And a consultant. She was literally scanning me up and down like she was preparing a dating profile. Mom filter activated. Suddenly her son was the most handsome man on earth. Mom, I just broke up with someone. Not looking. As I said this, Shin Qing's face floated into my mind unbidden. Cold, beautiful, terrifyingly intelligent. Already potentially carrying my child. But sure, Mom, let's set me up with the oncologist. Great plan. We got to the hospital, waited almost an hour, and finally met Dr. Wen. And okay, Mom wasn't wrong. She was stunning. The kind of beautiful where you walk into the room and forget what you came for. White lab coat, black framed glasses, effortlessly gorgeous. The glasses especially added a certain academic appeal. Not seductive. Scholarly. Very scholarly. It's been a while, Mrs. Qin, Dr. Wen said, then frowned. Last time I recommended chemotherapy, and you refused and never came back. Without treatment, you have less than 6 months. Mom started mumbling about Chinese medicine and home remedies. Dr. Wen cut her off, gently but firmly. She was clearly a good doctor who actually cared about her patients. She even had a spot in some international clinical trial for a new targeted drug she wanted Mom to try. That won't be necessary, I said. Her cancer is cured. We're just here to confirm. Dr. Wen blinked. Then blinked again. I'm sorry. Cured? Traditional remedy. We just want a scan to verify. Her frown deepened. I could see her mentally filing me under. Family member in denial. Possibly dangerous. She'd probably seen hundreds of desperate cancer families falling for quack cures and miracle water. In her eyes, I was one more deluded son about to learn a harsh lesson. I understand your feelings, but late-stage lung cancer cannot be cured by folk remedies. If she misses the treatment window, then some male doctor standing nearby decided to contribute his unsolicited opinion. Rujin, if they want to get themselves killed, let them. The trial spots are limited anyway. Why waste one on ignorant people? He sneered. Traditional Chinese medicine? Home remedies? That primitive nonsense should have been eliminated years ago. Ah, there it is. The arrogant jerk doctor who shows up in every hospital scene. Right on schedule. I was wondering when he'd appear. The guy just called my mother's treatment primitive, insulted an entire branch of medicine, and implied we were too stupid to deserve help. This was going to be fun. This doctor, Cui Zhua, senior researcher from some fancy international medical institute called JK, looked at me like I was a caveman who'd wandered into a hospital. Oh, you probably don't even know what JK is. Let me educate you. JK is one of the world's most prestigious. I don't care what JK is. You don't get to insult us or trash-talk Chinese medicine. Insult? Believing a folk remedy can cure lung cancer is an ignorance? I'm just stating facts, he smirked. And Chinese medicine? A bunch of random weeds can cure diseases? Meridians and pressure points? All garbage. Can't compare to modern medicine. Dr. Wen told him to cool it, then turned to me with genuine concern. As a young person, you should trust science, not folk remedies. This is terminal cancer. If you delay treatment because of false hope, you'll regret it forever. She was being kind. She actually cared. I respected that. Just run the tests. The results will speak for themselves. She wrote up the orders. Chuizhua couldn't resist one more jab. When the results come back worse, don't come crying for a spot in our clinical trial. Nobody wants your trial. And if the results prove my mom is cured, you're apologizing for every word you said. Deal. If her results are even slightly better, I'll apologize. But they won't be. He was so confident. I almost felt bad for what was about to happen to his ego. Almost. Mom and I went for the scans. 1 hour later, I was holding the report and grinning like I'd won the lottery. Which, medically speaking, I had. Tumors, gone. Every single indicator, normal. Complete remission. Clean as a whistle. Mom couldn't read the medical jargon, but she spotted no abnormalities detected and burst into tears right there in the hallway. It's really gone. It's really gone. We walked back into Dr. Wen's office, and I handed her the report. She read it. Her fingers stopped moving. She read it again. Then she looked up at me like I'd just told her gravity was optional. This is impossible. Cui Zhuo snatched the report. His smug grin froze, cracked, and fell off his face like plaster from a ceiling. Tumors completely gone? All indicators normal. His voice went up about 4 octaves. You must have the wrong report. Call the lab yourself. He grabbed the phone like it owed him money, dialed the lab, confirmed it was correct, and his face turned a color I've never seen on a human being before. Like someone mixed fury, disbelief, and existential crisis in a blender. Dr. Wen recovered from shock first. How did you do this? Acupuncture and a few herbs. Impossible. Cui Zhuo jumped up like his chair was on fire. Late-stage lung cancer cannot be cured by needles and weeds. I refuse to. Did I ask you to believe me? Your limited understanding couldn't possibly comprehend traditional Chinese medicine. I paused. Oh, and speaking of things you forgot, weren't you supposed to do something? What? Apologize. His face went through more colors than a sunset. Apologize? In front of Dr. Wen? His precious ego would rather spontaneously combust. Dr. Wen looked at him coolly. You made a bet. You lost. Own it. Sorry. He squeezed out through teeth clenched so hard I thought they'd crack. His face was redder than a tomato at a sunburn convention. And in the future, I added, maybe don't use your tiny understanding to judge an entire medical tradition that's been around for thousands of years. Not all of it is primitive garbage. He stood there seething. I could practically see steam coming out of his ears. But he kept quiet, because what could he say? The report was right there, in black and white. His entire worldview had just been folded into a paper airplane and thrown out the window. Dr. Wen was fascinated. Can you explain the treatment in detail? Who performed it? I did. As for specifics, it's a lineage technique. Can't share the details. You did it? She was staring at me like I'd just casually mentioned I could teleport. Cui Zhuo jumped back in. Rujin, you can't believe this nonsense. Even if the report is clean, that doesn't prove acupuncture did it. Spontaneous remission happens. The immune system sometimes. He says he's a doctor? I interrupted, looking Cui Zhuo up and down with my origin site active. Then I smiled. A slow, deliberate, devastating smile. You've been having lower back pain and feeling exhausted lately, right? His mouth snapped shut. How? How do you know that? Chinese medicine. Observation. It's called looking, listening, asking, and feeling. You know, the primitive garbage techniques? I leaned back casually. You've got kidney deficiency. You need to take it easy. Oh, and last night was pretty wild, wasn't it? More than one woman. If I'm reading you correctly, the color drained from his face so fast I thought he'd faint. You're making things up, am I? Your body says otherwise. He spun toward Dr. Wen in panic mode. Rujin, don't listen to his nonsense. He's lying. I was. Dr. Wen's expression had shifted from professional to disgusted. You don't need to explain yourself to me, but your personal life is your business. But next time you spend a night doing whatever you were doing, maybe don't tell me you were up all night writing a research paper on the new drug. Boom. He'd been working on my paper as a cover story for his nighttime adventures, and she'd just figured out the truth in real time thanks to my diagnosis. His elaborate line network collapsed like a Jenga tower in an earthquake. His face went from white to green to a shade I can only describe as career-ending embarrassment. Dr. Wen looked at him with the exact expression you'd use for something unpleasant stuck to your shoe. Traditional Chinese medicine. 1. Arrogant Western medicine snob. 0. Also his dating life. Destroyed. I love this job. Cui Zhuo tried desperately to save himself. I really was writing a paper all night. I swear. I pointed at his laptop sitting right there on the desk. That's your computer, right? Just open the paper and show us. Problem solved. His face went through the 5 stages of grief in about 2 seconds. I didn't use the laptop. I wrote it by hand. I'll bring it this afternoon. Dr. Wen's expression could have frozen a volcano. Are you insulting my intelligence? She kicked him out of her clinic. Told him to never shadow her again and to get his clinical data from someone else. He left shooting me a death glare that said, I'm going to make you pay for this. Sure, buddy. Take a number. After he stomped out, Dr. Wen apologized for the scene. I warned her that Cui Zhuo was bad news. Messy personal life, clearly pursuing her with dishonest intentions. She nodded. Smart woman. Then she got curious. If your medical skills are this advanced, why didn't you treat your mother earlier? I only found out she was sick last night. Last night? You cured late-stage lung cancer in one night. Oops. Shouldn't have said that. But the words were already out. floating in the air like an accidental confession. She started trembling with excitement. Do you understand what this means for the medical world? If this method could be replicated, I'm not interested in fame. Then think about the patients. How many lives could be saved if it can't be replicated? The technique requires special circumstances. Special circumstances meaning supernatural spiritual energy that only an ancient emperor's heir possesses, but I obviously couldn't say that. She was disappointed but rallied quickly. Then can I at least experience your medical skills firsthand? I want to see Chinese medicine in action. I was about to say no, but Mom jumped in. Xiao Fan, Dr. Wen was so kind to me when I was sick. The least you can do is help her. Thanks, Mom. Really helpful. Putting me on the spot in front of a beautiful doctor. Classic parenting. Fine. I activated my origin site and looked at Dr. Wen. The first thing I noticed was, let's say diagnostic information that had nothing to do with her medical condition. Black undergarments. The white coat really hit a lot. She was well-proportioned, approximately a D cup, if we're being clinical about it. Which we are, because I'm a medical professional now. But wait, the right side appeared slightly larger than the left? That's unusual. My sight penetrated deeper and I found the issue. A blocked meridian on the left side was restricting blood flow and affecting development. So the right side was actually her normal size, and the left was underdeveloped due to the blockage. This was going to be the most awkward medical consultation of my life. I quickly forced my brain back to doctor mode, scanned her entire body, and shut off the X-ray vision before I saw anything else that would require a cold shower. Dr. Wen was shifting uncomfortably under my gaze. Why do I feel like I'm being seen through? She murmured. Isn't Chinese diagnosis supposed to involve pulse reading? Why is he just staring? Good question. No good answer available. Dr. Wen, have you been experiencing chest tightness, difficulty breathing, and unusual irritability lately? Her eyes widened. Yes. How did you know just by looking? It's been getting worse over the past 2 months. Yes. Do you have a treatment? I glanced at Mom, who immediately declared she needed to go for a walk and practically sprinted out of the room with the biggest matchmaker grin I've ever seen on a human face. Thanks again, Mom. Super helpful. Once we were alone, I had to deliver the most professionally awkward diagnosis of my career. Dr. Wen, this condition didn't start recently. It's been building for a long time, just too mild to notice. Deep breath. Professional voice. Medical terminology. I need to ask, is your right chest larger than your left? She froze. Then her face went from porcelain white to tomato red in approximately 0.3 seconds. To her credit, she's a doctor. She recovered quickly. Medical professionals discuss bodies all the time. Totally normal. Nothing weird here. But I could tell she was thinking. He can see that through a bra and a baggy lab coat just by looking. The chest tightness is caused by a blocked meridian on your left side, I explained, keeping my voice as clinical as humanly possible. The blockage restricts blood flow, which explains the tightness and the size difference. Your right side is actually what your normal size should be. The left is underdeveloped because of the obstruction. How do we treat it? 2 options. Acupuncture. I use needles to open the meridians. Or massage, manual manipulation to clear the blockage. Both would restore normal blood flow, eliminate the tightness, and the left side would catch up, healthier and more symmetrical. Then I asked the question that made sense medically but sounded insane socially. Do you have a boyfriend? No. Why? If you did, the blockage probably wouldn't have gotten this bad. Excuse me, she stared at me. Then the meaning hit her. Her face went from red to crimson. I mean, even with incorrect technique, regular manual contact in that area would provide some circulation benefits. Stop talking. She cut me off so fast the air cracked. Are there any other treatment options? Medication won't work at this stage. It needs physical intervention. My mom says you were good to her, so I'm offering to help. Acupuncture or massage, your choice. She was quiet. Processing. If you'd rather, you could try self-massage at home, but it would only reduce symptoms slightly. Full recovery requires professional treatment. How many sessions? 7 or 8. Minimum. She went completely silent. I could hear the gears grinding in her brain. 7 or 8 sessions. Of a man she just met. Either sticking needles near her chest or massaging her chest while she lies there. 7 or 8 times. This is strictly medical, I added quickly. Nothing inappropriate. I'm a professional. The look she gave me said, you just told me my boyfriend's hands would fix the problem. How professional are we really being here? Fair point, Dr. Wen. Fair point. Take your time deciding, I told Dr. Wen. No pressure. Call me whenever. She looked genuinely relieved that I wasn't pushing the whole, let me touch your chest 7 or 8 times, medical plan. We exchanged phone numbers, and I told her to just call me Lin Fan since we were basically friends now. She smiled. Nice smile. Very nice smile. Mom was waiting outside with the most suspicious grin I've ever seen on a parent's face. So, did you cure her? No, Mom. She's working. We'll schedule it later. Schedule it later? You already exchanged numbers? Wonderful. Wonderful. Her smile could have powered a small city. Tell me honestly, do you like Dr. Wen? She's beautiful, kind, smart. Where else would you find a girl like that? She's a few years older, but women older by 3 years bring gold bricks. MOM. We're friends. Just friends. You're impressive, I must say. I've known her for months, and we're still just doctor-patient. You talked to her for 10 minutes, and you're friends already. She gave me a thumbs up. A few more chats, and you'll be boyfriend-girlfriend for sure. I had no response. My mother had already planned the wedding in her head, and was probably picking grandchildren's names. Mom, can we please just go home? Outside the hospital, a surprise was waiting. Chui Zhua, the arrogant researcher I'd just publicly humiliated, was standing with a massive muscular thug and about 15 tattooed street guys. Of course he hired thugs, because when you lose an argument about medicine, the logical next step is organized violence. Very scientific approach, doctor. There he is, Chui Zhua pointed at me, strutting in front of his rented muscle like a chihuahua leading a pack of bulldogs. Been waiting for you. You were real cocky inside, weren't you? Running your mouth? Not so chatty now, huh? I stopped. Looked at the gang. Looked at Chui Zhua. Sighed internally. It hadn't even been 12 hours since I last dealt with gangsters. I was becoming a frequent customer. What do you want? First, kneel and apologize. Then I'll have the boys teach you a lesson. He jerked his thumb at the big guy. This is Brother Leopard. You know who he is? He's a boss in Double Dragon Hall. Thud. Behind Chui Zhua, a very heavy sound. The sound of knees hitting concrete. Hard. Chui Zhua turned around. Brother Leopard, the feared gang enforcer, the man who was supposed to destroy me, was on his knees. Face white, shaking like a leaf in a hurricane. Mr. Lin, I didn't know it was you. He'd been there last night. He'd seen me carve through Double Dragon Hall like a hot knife through butter. He'd watched me dodge bullets, decapitate 2 gang bosses, and walk out covered in other people's blood. And now some doctor had paid him 10,000 yuan to come beat me up. The irony was so thick you could spread it on toast. Everyone on the sidewalk stopped to stare. 1 second ago, they were thinking, that poor young man is about to get destroyed by gangsters. The next second, the gangster was kneeling and begging. The whiplash was giving bystanders neck injuries. Chui was brain blue-screened. Leopard, why are you kneeling? Shut your mouth. Leopard roared at Chui Zhua with genuine fury. This idiot almost got him killed. He'd take 100 beatings over facing me again. Mr. Lin, it was him. He paid me 10,000 to rough someone up. I had no idea it was you. Mom was standing behind me with her mouth hanging open. Her son, the boy who used to let Zhou Ru boss him around, who couldn't say a harsh word to anyone, now had gang members kneeling before him in public. I could see her entire understanding of reality rearranging itself in real time. Mom, I'll explain later, I whispered. I walked toward Chui Zhua. His swagger evaporated like morning dew in a furnace. You said you wanted me to kneel and apologize? Still want that? No. Misunderstanding. Just wanted to scare you a little. Haha. Just joking. Oh, just scaring me? Cool. Let me scare you a little. I turned to Brother Leopard. Take him somewhere quiet. Beat him up. Yes, SIR. I'll put him in a hospital for 6 months. No. He's here representing some medical institute. There are patients who need his research. 10 days to 2 weeks in bed, maximum. Keep it professional. Yes, sir. Leopard's guys grabbed Chui Zhua and started dragging him away. Wait. Leopard, you're supposed to be a man of principle. I paid you. I'm your client. Leopard. Leopard. His voice faded into the distance, ending with a satisfying scream. Leopard muttered under his breath. Man of principle? I'll show you principle. You almost got me killed. Beautiful. The man literally hired the one gang in the city that was now terrified of me. Hired them to attack me. and they beat him up instead. If that's not karma, I don't know what is. I drove Mom home. She was still processing. Mom, Brother Leopard isn't actually scared of me. He's scared of Miss Shun from Allure Corporation. The Shun family is very powerful in this city. Oh, that makes sense. She bought it. I breathed a sigh of relief. Much easier than explaining. I killed his bosses last night, and now his entire gang works for me. We got home. I was finally going to relax. Then someone knocked on the door. I opened it. Several people in suits. The leader, a middle-aged man, flashed an official-looking badge. Lin Fan? We're from the Transcendent Bureau. Come with us. And there it was. The supernatural police had arrived. Jiangsu warned me they'd come. The body count at Double Dragon Hall was too high to ignore. My midnight massacre had gotten their attention. Time to find out if my ancestral grave was producing enough mystical smoke. Transcendent Bureau? I looked at the badge. Legit. Official government supernatural police, standing at my mother's front door like the world's scariest Jehovah's Witnesses. Not unexpected, Jiangsu warned me. But they were faster than I thought. My midnight gang massacre must have set off some alarms. Mom looked terrified. Xiao Fan. Mom, relax. They just want to ask me some questions. I'll be back soon. I got into their black SUV. Very dramatic. Very government. Nobody talked during the ride. I sat with my eyes closed, mentally rehearsing my story. The key was, tell enough truth to be believable, hide enough truth to stay alive. 30 minutes later, I was in a plain building, sitting across from a guy named Chao Hui, deputy captain of Enforcement Squad 3. He opened a folder and looked at me. Know why you're here, Double Dragon Hall. Not just that. You're a newly awakened transcendent who hasn't registered. Let's start with Double Dragon Hall. I told him everything. The truth, mostly. Sister in danger. Rescued her. Went back to eliminate the threat because they'd threatened my family. He listened, closed his folder, and delivered the verdict. Your sister's situation checks out. But when you went to their headquarters, she was already safe. If I didn't go, they would have attacked my home that night. My mother. My sister. What would you do, Captain? He went quiet for a few seconds. I'd probably make the same choice. But rules are rules. Standard protocol, 15 days of supervised monitoring plus psychological evaluations. If you pass, you're free. 15 days? I had cultivation to do. Jade to absorb. A potential baby mama CEO to protect. I did not have 2 weeks to sit in government detention doing personality quizzes. What if I refuse? You get classified as a dangerous individual. Forced containment. Possible elimination. There was that word again. Elimination. The supernatural government's favorite hobby. Fine. But, any chance I could just join the Transcendent Bureau instead? Even as a freelancer? Chao Hui actually laughed. In my face. You think this is a farmer's market? Walk in, walk out. We have strict recruitment procedures. No special recruitment. Only for B-rank awakenings or unique abilities. You're C-rank at best. Just accept the monitoring like a good boy. I was internally seething. Not qualified. Me? The inheritor of the 3 human emperors' legacy? The guy who caused the sky phenomenon that had every powerful person on the planet scrambling? If I told you the truth, you'd be begging me to join. But I kept my mouth shut. Because telling the truth would get me killed faster than refusing the monitoring. Then the door opened, and everything changed. A young woman walked in. High ponytail. Black outfit. Clean, sharp, dangerous. Her face was stunning. Delicate features with eyes like deep, still water. Zero emotion visible. Professional killer energy mixed with runway model aesthetics. Qin Fei? What are you doing here? Chao Hui actually stood up when she entered. Respect? Fear? Both? I'm taking over this case. Her voice left zero room for negotiation. You're assisting. Chao Hui looked at her, looked at me, swallowed his surprise, and nodded. Okay. She sat down and started reciting my file from memory. Qin Fei, captain of Enforcement Squad 1. Lin Fan, former stonecutter. Yesterday morning, destroyed a blood puppet lure at Jade Origin House while assisting Xinqing. Last night, single-handedly assaulted Double Dragon Hall headquarters, killed over 20 people. My stomach dropped. She knew about the Jade shop too? Chao Hui's file only covered last night. This woman had intelligence sources that made the regular team look like amateurs. Estimated rank, C-class. Tell me, what inheritance did you receive? Or what power did you awaken? Ancient cultivation method, I said. Technically true. Extremely vague. Perfect. She stared at me for what felt like an eternity, then looked away. Fine. About the monitoring Chow Hui mentioned, that's standard procedure. I'm giving you a different option. Join the Transcendent Bureau. Full official membership. What? Chow Hui nearly fell out of his chair. 2 minutes ago, he was laughing at me for wanting freelancer status, and now his boss was offering me the full package? I was surprised too, but I didn't jump. What are the requirements? Follow orders. Complete missions. Be on call. I can't. I already work at Allure Corporation, and I need time for cultivation. Chow Hui looked like someone had hit him with a frying pan. I just turned down what thousands of Transcendents would kill for. The man was questioning my sanity. Then consider freelancer status. Qin Fei offered without missing a beat. Freedom to do your own thing. Assist the Bureau when needed. That I can do. Done. Freelancer status at the Transcendent Bureau. Government backing. Official protection. Zhang Se told me this was like passing the civil service exam. Once you're one of theirs, other factions think twice before touching you. Mom would be so proud if she knew, which she absolutely could not. Qin Fei handed me a registration form. Fill it out honestly. The instant my fingers touched the paper near her hand, the Emperor's seal inside me pulsed. A sharp vibration, brief but unmistakable. And the source was her. Something on Qin Fei's body was resonating with my human Emperor's seal. I activated Origin Sight as casually as possible and looked at her chest area. And before you judge me, this was purely investigative, scientific, archaeological even, hanging from a red cord around her neck, resting just below her collarbone against her. Very distracting. Skin was a small, irregular fragment. Not metal, not jade. Completely unremarkable looking. Except I recognized it immediately. A fragment of the human Emperor's seal. My brain exploded for the second time this week. What was a piece of the Emperor's seal doing around the neck of a Transcendent Bureau captain? Did she know what it was? Did someone give it to her? Was she connected to the 3 emperors somehow? What's wrong? She asked, noticing my stare. Nothing. I looked away quickly because, and I cannot stress this enough, the fragment was hanging in a very specific anatomical zone, and the surrounding scenery was making it extremely difficult to maintain professional focus. White. Very white. And slightly swaying with her breathing. I was getting dizzy for reasons that had nothing to do with supernatural energy. I filled out the form with the focus of a man defusing a bomb. Kept stealing glances at the fragment. But mostly at the fragment. Mostly. She sent me off with Chow Hui to do paperwork and psychological tests. Chow Hui kept looking at me like I was an alien. Special recruitment freelancer? Who are you? After we left, Qin Fei took my registration form and headed to the top floor. She knocked on an office door. Enter, said an old voice from inside. So there's someone above the Squad 1 captain. Someone important enough to warrant a personal briefing. About me. My file was going up the chain. Things were getting very interesting. And very dangerous. I had a fragment of the Emperor's seal to retrieve, a government organization watching my every move, and a beautiful enforcement captain who was wearing part of my divine inheritance as a necklace between her. You know what? Let's just move on. While I was downstairs doing paperwork and psychological tests. Yes, they made me answer questions like, do you enjoy hurting people? I circled, only when they deserve it, then erased it and wrote, no. Things were happening upstairs that I knew nothing about. Apparently, Qin Fei took my registration form straight to the top floor. To her grandfather, who was also, apparently, a very important person in the Transcendent Bureau. The same old man from the jade shop who'd been watching me destroy the blood puppet seed. He'd been tracking me since yesterday, but I didn't know any of this at the time. I was too busy trying to figure out how to get the Emperor's seal fragment off Qin Fei's neck without getting arrested, killed, or slapped. Chow Hui handed me my official freelancer badge with a smile. Congratulations, you're one of us now. I tried to be social. Hey Chow, wanna grab dinner tonight? My treat. Can't. Got a mission. Rain check. Sure. By the way, what's Qin Fei's deal? You know her well? His expression did a complete 180. From friendly to warning lights. Wait, are you interested in Qin Fei? Romantically? If you are, stop. Immediately. Delete the thought. Shred it. Burn the shreds. Why? Can't say? You'll find out eventually. He looked around nervously, patted my shoulder, and basically fled. Just don't. Trust me. Okay, bye. Go report to Qin Fei. You're her subordinate now. Good luck. Great pep talk, Chow. Very reassuring. Nothing makes a man more curious than being told. Absolutely, do not be curious about this. I went to Qin Fei's office. She was sitting there looking like a government-issued action figure. Perfect posture, zero warmth, 100% lethal efficiency. All done. Yep. I was fighting every urge to activate Origin Sight and stare at the seal fragment again. But the fragment was located in the danger zone, and I'd already pushed my luck in that department. Why did you recruit me? I asked. Don't ask questions you don't need answers to. Nothing for you here today. You can leave. Cold. Professional. Completely uninterested in conversation. This woman had the personality of a government form. Functional, necessary, and absolutely zero fun. I left, called Mom to let her know I was alive, and took a taxi to Allure Corporation. Walked into Shin Qing's office and started explaining my morning. She cut me off immediately. You don't need to explain. I told you. No fixed hours, no check-ins, total freedom. If I need you, I'll call. I stood there processing this. No schedule, no attendance, no reports. I could literally never show up and still get paid $10 million a year. Every overworked office employee on the planet would weep tears of pure jealousy if they knew this job existed. Actually, since you're here, want to go open those raw stones? My eyes lit up. More stones meant more jade. More jade meant more spiritual energy. More spiritual energy meant more power. This was basically asking a kid if he wanted to go to the candy store. Except the candy made me superhuman. We walked to the raw stone warehouse, and I nearly passed out. Mountains. Mountains of raw stones. Piled floor to ceiling, wall to wall, stretching into the distance like a geological army. This warehouse made the Jade Origin house look like a convenience store. If even half of these had jade inside, I'd basically be strapping a rocket to my cultivation and lighting the fuse. Meanwhile, somewhere upstairs in the Transcendent Bureau building I'd just left, the old man, Qin Fei's grandfather, was sitting at his desk, holding something in his palm. A small, irregular fragment. Thumb-sized. Not metal. Not jade. Another piece of the human emperor seal. That made 3 fragments I knew about. Mine, Qin Fei's necklace, and now Grandpa's palm piece. The old man was also giving orders to investigate the sky phenomenon, my sky phenomenon, and had just allocated me a spot in something called Project X, which was apparently so valuable that the most powerful families in the entire country would sell organs to get a single slot. He also casually ordered someone to find whoever was behind the blood puppet scheme and, direct quote, kill them clean. Use their heads as a warning. Oh, and foreign powers had arrived in the city looking for the source of the sky anomaly. Which was me, the guy currently standing in a warehouse getting excited about rocks. The net was tightening from every direction. Government, foreign agents, mysterious enemies targeting the Shin family. And I was at the center of all of it, cheerfully planning my next jade absorption binge like a spiritual energy vacuum cleaner with a great dental plan. At least I had a government badge now, and a Range Rover, and 10 billion yuan, and possibly a baby on the way. Not bad for day 3 of being the human emperor's successor. Shin Qing walked me through the warehouse. These are the 50 million yuan stones from yesterday. Those are existing inventory. Do you need the jade extracted first, or can you absorb energy through the stone shell? Shell is fine, but might as well cut them open since we're here. I scanned the mountain of rocks with my Origin Sight and... Okay, reality check. Not every stone had jade, and some of the jade was garbage quality. For a second I was disappointed, but then I remembered that normal humans can't see through rocks at all, so maybe I should lower my standards from everything should be perfect to this is still incredibly overpowered. Shin Qing called in 15 stone-cutting masters. These were veteran craftsmen, 20, 30 years of experience each. They took one look at me, and I could read their faces like a book titled, Who is this child, and why is he in charge? Everyone. This is Lin Fan. Follow his instructions on how to cut. They exchanged glances. The lead cutter, Master's son, a 50-something guy with decades of experience, spoke up diplomatically. Miss Shun, with all due respect, if he gives wrong instructions and the jade shatters, who's responsible? Where are the regular consultants? Translation, we're not taking orders from a baby. Shin Qing shot me a look that said, show them. I got the message. I picked up a piece of chalk, glanced at the nearest stone with my Origin Sight, and drew a big X right across it. 2 lines. Cross pattern.